Oh my God, it had to be counted in. That was just too weird. Anyone,
What was that?
everyone. That's what I said. Welcome to the Centralist, everyone. That was our count in. I guess we're going to get counted in now. That was a little weird.
Who did that
Usually we
to us?
just go straight. But anyway, I hope everyone's having a wonderful weekend, or I should say a start of a weekend since it's Friday. For my friends out on the East Coast, it's nice. It's 10 o'clock out there. Starting to get a good buzz going. Maybe had a couple of cocktails, maybe smoked a little puffy. For the Central people, y'all catching up. For the West Coasters, y'all got a little ways to go, but y'all can't handle as much anyway, so it's probably good that y'all start later. But, still, welcome everyone. I hope you're really into the show tonight. We got a lot to talk about. And we got a lot of topics we're going to cross. And we are, for somebody who wrote to me earlier today, we are going to talk about Trump and the Attorney General, but there's not only so much you can talk about with this right now because the DOJ, for some reason, seems to be scared to release information on this, which really makes me scared now that, they're back there, making shit up. Because, oh, well, wait, you got to release it. Trump has to know what they invaded his house for. So I'm not sure what the hell's going on here. And I see my boy Trump is playing it like a song, but we're going to get into all of that as the show goes on. A lot of other good stuff. I have Michael Angley with us, and I see Jay McNichols just joined us. Hey, Jay, how you doing, babe? So we just
Good.
get
How are you?
warmed up. Just got a lot to go across tonight. There's a whole list of topics that we're going to get into. But first, welcome everyone, and I hope y'all really are having a good weekend. I was talking with some friends of mine, and suicide is still up pretty high in the country right now, and it has a lot to do with the leftover COVID stuff. But all that time everybody was off, and all that depression, all that just constantly just down or bad news all the time, and it doesn't really seem like it's changed all that much under the Biden administration. It just always seems to be bad news, and but we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the almost $1 trillion bill that they passed. That's going to do absolutely nothing for us. But hey, it's going to make a lot of Democrats rich. I will give it that. And that's about all it's going to do. And remember, Obama did the same thing. He did all these green deals. And what happened? Does anybody remember what happened to all the green deals? They filed bankruptcy, every company, all of them. None of them exist. All the companies that Obama gave money to, which was billions and billions and billions of dollars, guess what? Does not exist
Gone.
anymore. They're gone. They're all out of business. And this is basically just the same thing. And what it really is it's more of the Democrats just paying off their debts to the people who got them in office. That's really what this is really about. As far as a change in inflation, no, everybody, even the Democrats, people said it's not going to change inflation. That was just the Democrats trying to blow smoke up your ass as usual. I mean, it really doesn't matter what size party it is. One or the other is going to be blowing smoke up your ass because they want to get their stuff through.
Right.
We need to go back to a simple thing, people. 65 votes in the Senate, 300 votes in the House. Everything's bipartisan. And if everything's bipartisan, we the people win. That's the only time we win is if it's bipartisan. When it's partisan, we always lose. Okay, it's like, well, we're going to get our fair share from the big corporate companies. 15%. We're going to get 15%. Do you can understand 15%? I understand 15%. I just understand that everything I buy from these companies just went up 15%. That's what I understand. But apparently, you assholes think I'm stupider than that. I mean, really, how dumb do you think most Americans are? Do you not think that we don't know big business isn't going to pass the bills on to us? Sorry, that is my alarm system.
Well, you
Uh,
you kind of you made two statements there, Joe. You said how dumb do you think people are? Very dumb, very dumb. Just because it ain't one of us doesn't mean that there isn't a whole bunch of dumb. Look at religion. Look at the how people give these televangelists billions, man. In some cases, mansions and all that. People are dumb, 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 and then they believe the lie. And once they have a little bit of a lie in their head from somebody else, they don't believe anything else. It's very hard to deprogram people, man. But you see what's going on. We're at a tipping point. We're at a racial tipping point. There's riots going on. There's people being attacked because of their skin color, and then you're letting these people go. And even the governor of New York had to step in and put this guy back in jail who put somebody in a coma. Just standing there doing nothing, man. And he was a sex offender on lifetime parole. You're in danger. They love it. They love that, these politicians, because then you're focused on all this stuff, your own preservation, and not what they're doing. But what are they doing? And it's just, we're all old enough to understand it's all about the lie. It's a salesman pitch. It's a lie. They're not there to defend our rights and protect us. They're there to divide and conquer. It's what they do. But now people are dropping dead. People are dying. Look at the monkeypox vaccine they're trying to push. Right now, it's a very difficult thing to catch unless you're having a certain kind of sex. Maybe get it through droplets here and there, but not anything like COVID. Nothing like that. But they're looking to use more governmental power to kind of say, okay, you're going to be restricted in these rights because of this now, making it a public health emergency. So we've got to be very careful, and there's no leadership, nothing, no
No,
leadership
no. Now, I
that's
just
there for
heard
us.
AP tell me today that Joe Biden's at 45%, and
What?
he's almost as good as Kennedy.
Yeah.
That was a statement. And I looked at it. I mean, Associated Press is supposed to be the news. Of course, they're just become another liberal rag lately, but I read that and I'm like, do you really think? Who the hell you think is going to believe it? So the crazy liberals might believe it. You know what? The crazy conservatives might believe it, but the rest of the country is going to be like, no, no. He didn't go from 36 to 45 just because some crappy bill got passed. Let's just get over that. And then they've got to be really upset because CNN and NBC had people on this week that said even if Trump runs with this on him, he's still going to win and be president. He said they don't have anybody that can beat him now. He's unbeatable. He said, thanks to the media, all they're going to be doing is talking about Trump, 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 and they're not going to be able to come up with any information. It's going to revert back to the Russian thing, and people are just going to start thinking because a lot of Democrats got disenchanted. A lot of CNN, NBC, and CBS viewers got disenchanted when the Russian thing turned out to be, oh my God, it was a political thing. Well, Hillary lied, put this thing to the FBI, and the FBI ran with it and embarrassed everybody. I mean, Hillary should be in jail. Half the people at the FBI should be in jail over this, but nobody went. So we're just going to think, oh, it's just more collusion bullshit. It's just more political stuff. And a lot of my Democratic friends think that now. They think it's just, they're just trying to keep him from running for president. That's what they're trying to do. And one of their big analysts was on CNN just yesterday and said, no, if he runs, he's going to win. He said, y'all can't beat him. He said, he said, there's no way you're going to have the economy where it was when he was president. He said, there's all kind of other stuff with the COVID and all kind of other stuff with trade. He said, and then probably by then Hunter Biden's stuff will be out.
I want to hang out with Hunter, man. I want to be his mooch. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know.
Like, I want to mooch the good whiskey and the ex hookers and whatever you got. Whatever you throw my way, even 10%. You know what I mean? And then I'll hang out. I'll do some vacuuming and whatever. Clean up his crap. I'll lie for him in court. I'll be like, yeah, he wasn't there. He was totally somewhere else. He was at church. So
Yes, he was in church, being a good church going person at that day. Um, I really think. I'm sorry, and I've said this before. I really think that the main reason the Democrats are pushing Hunter Biden stuff down isn't because of anything other than the fact they want to use it against Biden in 2024. I mean, in 2023. They need something because Biden said he's running, and he said he's doing the paperwork now. He said he's running again in 2024. So the only way you're going to get him out is if they tie him to Hunter Biden and that bullshit, and then he'll have to step down. He'll be disgraced, but he'll have to step down. But that means he's out, and they can run. Governor Newsom will be your president, people. If that's the truth, I'm moving to Mexico. Even if they got a liberal president down there, I'm moving. I can't move to Canada because I can't take Mr. Pink Shorts, but I can deal with Mexico. Mm-hmm.
it's too
Even though I
cold
got a
up
lot of
there.
friends. Yeah, I can't. Trudeau is just. Trudeau is like letting your 11-year-old grandchild who's high on ice cream run a country. I mean, really, it's like he had too much sugar or something.
Free toys for everybody.
And I still can't figure out if the picture with him naked with the flag is real or not. I'm like, Jesus, really, dude?
He's just another puppet. He's another controlled puppet. That's the problem with these people that they don't stand for themselves. Look around the world leaders. How many are out there? Bojo's gone. It's just you have a hodgepodge of people who have agenda interests at hand, but they're not the interests of representing people. The people are kind of just the pawns on one side or the other. That's why they do it. That's why they do that. That's why you don't have one party that gives you everything you want. It's only elements of one or elements of the other, and which is lesser of evil. What do you want more? It shouldn't be a choice like that. It should just be representation. Period. Doing, hey, I'm making this decision. Is it good for people? Is it good for people? Does it benefit people? Not corporations, nothing, none of this other stuff. But we're we're venturing into new ground. I don't know if you know. I was just talking to my sister who is a farmer. She owns a huge farm, and not huge, but she owns a farm. She said that a lot of the seeds aren't germinating. And this is a problem with a lot of farmers throughout the U.S. They're finding a good part of their seed supply not germinating, and they don't know why. And they're actually having to put seeds aside that they know that will for the next season. Look at animals in nature. The sharks coming close to the shores. There's a lot of animals becoming twitchy. But another weird thing, I know a lot of wildlife photographers. Like myself, I'm not a wildlife photographer. I do take pictures. I try to get a picture of the eagle. I keep getting the eagle's ass. If you want to see eagle's ass, I got tons of pictures, man. They always put their ass towards me. I have no idea why the hell they did. Anyway, they're saying they're seeing less animals in nature. That it's getting harder to see those eagles, harder to find, even other types of animals. So there's something going on, and the Earth is reacting to what's going on. You can call it whatever you want, global warming and this or whatever. As these polar ice caps melt, the Earth is spinning a little faster. Things are happening a little differently. You only need a couple of degrees out of the way for things to drastically change. Also, you have the angst of the people, the anger and the frustrations. That emotion creates a lot of energy, and then others will pick that up. I don't know, man. I think we're headed into a perfect storm, and once we're in that storm, there's no captain that's going to steer us through. All right. It's going
Well,
to be
I'm,
us, the
well,
three of us, getting
we need
people
we
through the
need
day.
we. Hey man, it's a Thundercat. Where'd that come from? It's I
I
don't
had to
know.
let Bill the cat out, so I turned the camera off.
No, we just messing with you. It's
Thundercats.
it's personally, man, we're in trouble, but yeah, a good leader can get us out of trouble. I just don't know where you're going to get one. I don't know if you're going to be able to get Trump in.
Well, they've weaponized Trump, and they weaponized Trump supporters, basically saying they're all stupid idiots who are white supremacists. Interesting, they're saying that about all the black and Latino Trump supporters. They're also white supremacists, or they support white
well,
supremacy. But the Democrats have gone to the point of application of term. You're a racist. I'm going to tell you guys a story, something that affected me greatly in the seventh grade, right? That I haven't really shared with a lot of people. And we had this teacher who was fresh from California, and I had thought he was pretty cool. He was all right. He was different from what I knew anyway. And we had, class trips every once in a while that went to Broadway. One of the cool things about growing up on Long Island, you had access to all kinds of cool stuff like that. There was this show, Ain't Misbehaving, right, which is a black cast and that type of thing. He had planned the show. It was $50. And my mom was a single mom who had two kids. There was no $50 coming out just to shell out. It's a lot of money, man, back then, especially.
yeah.
So I didn't want to say I couldn't go because of that. I just said I couldn't go, and then he looked at me and he's like, "You're a racist." I was like, what? And the dude knew that I had close personal black friends. I went to an all black school in sixth grade, and there's no way you can even allege that about me because I'm not that type of person. But for this guy to apply that to me, it made me understand something about people like him, he was ultra liberal. So think about the people around you that influence you and their political views, and they don't, but they apply the term. So if you support Trump, you're a racist, you're xenophobic, you hate women, you're misogynistic. They've used every name to describe a Trump supporter. Hillary started it with deplorables, right? It made people go out and vote. It made people say, you know what? I'm not deplorable just because I love my family and I love my Bible and I love my guns. I'm not deplorable. You can't imply that about me because they weaponize these words against people. So now as you apply these terms, it's one side or the other. If you've already been alleged all these things, then you're in that group. They're putting you in a specific group, aren't they? And then they also are in a specific group. So the battle lines are drawn, aren't they? The battle lines. I don't know if that go any further because who's left to convince of anything, you know?
Yeah, when
That's
The problem with that, and that's all throughout political history, the mudslinging and all that, is once you point a finger at someone, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not, you get enough of the people to believe it, you're not going to stop it.
They've gone to the extremes where they can't go any further. Now it's coming down to FBI raids. Now it's coming down to abuse of power, which it was before all the stuff Adam Schiff had alleged for how many years now, and he was supposed to come out with this information to back up what he was alleging. He never did. He won't, because they're lies. They're lies. They have fun lying. For them it's fun.
Well,
they lie their faces off.
Well, it's like they were talking about earlier. Oh, some of the documents released today makes it even worse for Trump. And I was reading through it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's always the same with the liberal media. Instead of just being honest, it's like when I watch Rachel Maddow with Trump's tax returns at night, and I'm sitting there watching her struggle because there was nothing in there. You knew the producer must have been inside doing like this because you kept seeing her look over to see. There was nothing to talk about. There was nothing there. So these new documents they release, there's nothing there, and everybody's like, well, what are you talking about? So it's just that, they can't be honest about anything anymore. And really, every media organization in this country should be upset that the FBI raided an ex-president's house without talking to them first. I mean, that's just, man, you can't get
these
no more
media people are faker than you couldn't even believe. I've known a whole bunch of them for such a long time. When I was writing for Good Times magazine as an entertainment writer in the early 90s, we had to interact, and you go into clubs, you go into places or arenas, and these people are there. You just talk to them for a few seconds, and you automatically know that they don't have any views. They just they read what they're told to read. If you think Don Lemon or any of these guys have any kind of views, they don't. Their view is the paycheck. The paycheck is the view, and then they'll speak to whatever group supports them, obviously.
Are you hating on Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg? Now, that is the best news out there, my friend. Come on.
I'm going to tell you about Whoopi Goldberg. Her husband lives in the Ithaca area, and I was part of an antique mall, and it had a lot of different, dealers in there. It was a big barn type of place. Whoopi went in there with her husband to buy all these antiques they had this business that they set up, like these cottages. So they went there to buy all this stuff up, and they did. People fell all over themselves to do favors for her, to let her, give her lines of credit. I said, get the cash while you can. Don't give that credit to Whoopi Goldberg. Guess what? There was a line of people going to court after her for not paying them after she defaulted. One guy sold her a player piano for $10,000. And then these are small antique dealers who can't afford to lose that money. So when I see her on there spouting off all this negative stuff, including, hey man, she went after Oprah for being fat how many times, calling her out back in the day. Now she looks like she swallowed 2 Oprahs. So she's a hypocrite all day long. Hypocrite. Pay the guy for his piano, god damn it. Hypocrite all day long.
And she shouldn't be that poor that she couldn't have paid $10,000 for that right out of her pocket.
She's a very wealthy person, but these people are used to taking advantage of other people. I bet so many of them that just they're privileged. They're privileged people. When she's talking about white privilege, she's a black woman in America who's a millionaire, who has whatever. She's not denied anything. She has nothing but privilege. So I don't get the whole white privilege thing.
Because there's black privilege too, Michael. Because it means black privilege is meaning not have to say sorry. I can always scream somebody's a racist. I can get things based on my skin color. That's black privilege, and it exists.
If one of us was sitting there in Russia on drug charges and smuggling charges, they wouldn't be swapping prisoners for us. They wouldn't be doing. They wouldn't say nobody would even know about it.
We wouldn't even be in the news.
The girl's there. She's saying that because she's a lesbian and she's black and she's a woman, people aren't supporting her in the U.S. No, it's because
most people said you should go to jail for bringing drugs into a country like Russia.
You did a criminal act. Pay the price.
It's what she did. But
I haven't even heard the teams talking about kicking her off yet. She should already been thrown off every team she's on. What's going on? If that was anybody else, she'd be thrown off.
Mm-hmm. That she makes all this money from playing on these Russian basketball teams. You wouldn't tell me that she couldn't find a connect in Russia to get a little bit of herb or whatever. Come on, man. That's the dumbest thing to me.
Mike, she's like every other liberal. That's believing your own press. That's what gets you in trouble.
You don't bring it with you.
Only big liberals don't get in trouble, like Nancy Pelosi.
Think
and Chuck
global,
Schumer.
buy local.
Buju Banton, the reggae guy, Buju Banton. I actually know him quite well. I've met up with him many times when I was writer. This dude a couple of years ago started doing a tour that started off in Miami. The tour bus got pulled over, leaving town. Of course, it's Florida. You know what I mean? They found 2.5 pounds of cocaine on these guys. Or 2 kilos, whatever that comes out to. More than two and
That's
a half
five
pounds of
pounds.
coke. And
That's 5 pounds.
so they tried charging them for distributing and smuggling. Meanwhile, that was just the coke for the crew. If you know anything about the music business, it's fueled by cocaine, and even these days. But you never heard another word about it, right? It went away like you wouldn't believe. It was gone, gone, gone. So, but in Russia, you don't smuggle drugs into countries where they restrict it. Any country restricts. Try smuggling drugs back into the U.S. You think that port authorities gonna settle for that? You may not do hard time, but damn. But she was arrogant. She was arrogant. She's got this the Me Too, the green, and all this other crap, and all these movements and
See,
whatever
but that's the
have
point,
given a
Michael.
lot of
If
people
you
a
don't
false
live,
sense of security.
it does, because if you don't live in the United States or in Europe itself or Canada, you're not in the woke. The rest of the country is
Well, it's
not woke. I mean, the rest of
unrealistic.
the world's not
What
woke. The rest of the world is like, what is wrong
listen,
with you,
man?
stupid people?
What
They think the
what
West has
people are
lost its
willing
mind.
what people are willing to tolerate. And I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of people that are at the end of their rope when it comes to
Yeah, that's
tolerance.
why
And
suicides
and
are
and
so high.
you're seeing it in the country. You're seeing people push back. The people blocking the roads. You're seeing people drive right through them. Like doing stuff like that. People have had it, and now they're being attacked. Well, then if you don't support them, you're stupid. You're this. You're that. You're a white supremacist. You know what? I've been called everything, man, everything, whatever. I don't care. If I don't respect you, you can't insult me anyway. Call me
Right.
whatever. It doesn't matter what you say. People usually say about you what they are true as about themselves. So whatever. I don't care. Obviously, there's people out there that have a problem, but yeah, if you're waiting for a bus and some guy walks past you and gives you a haymaker to the side of your head and kills you, just because this is New York City. This is what's going on out there in the world. There's no representation, and then they catch the people. They commit these terrible crimes and let them go again.
Yeah, even worse, like we spoke about this last show, is you can do a serious crime, like get caught with drugs and prostitution and all that kind of stuff, and then you get out of jail and they vote you right back in as mayor of DC. And that
Yeah, now
just
you
blew
know.
me away when that happened. I was just shocked that actually
Now
happened.
you know why Hochul got involved, because all of these criminals are now pouring over into the trendy areas in the city. So now the rich people, the wealthy people sitting out there having their food are getting robbed, by these gangs coming up with guns, robbing them, taking everything they got, and then taking off. So it just happened right across from a city councilwoman's office who demanded to defund the police. Defund
All
the
right,
police,
yeah,
defund the
I
police.
know it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why we're gonna get some stories in here because I keep getting people texting
No,
me. So
then she calls the police because of this robbery. These guys showing up with machine guns, robbing some cafe, and then she's saying the police didn't want to show up because I said defund the police. And,
Took
no,
their
they're not
money.
available. They're not
well,
available. They're responding to other stuff.
but that's a good lead into what we're talking about next. Is NYC DC sanctuary city policies come back to haunt them
Oh yeah,
amid feud with Texas and Arizona governor. So the Texas governor got on TV just a little while ago and said, "I'm not going to stop sending them. Every person that crosses the border, I'm sending to New York or to DC." Now he's talking about sending them out to LA. He said, "This is bullshit. You want to be a sanctuary city, then you have to take them." So and now they're saying New York and DC is going to be so overrun before the end of the year. It's going to be scary just to walk up and down the streets, man.
it already is.
Yeah.
It's like no.
Not
And
just
Texas
that, in
is
your car, they're running up to cars and robbing people driving down the street. At some point, they're going to go into museums and start stealing works of art. At some point, they're going to go into banks and just start grabbing cash. I
well,
mean,
you know,
that's how bold and brazen.
they are, but you know the main reason why these red states are sending them the blue states so they can't vote against them. So and it's not going to help them if they're in a red state and they're voting, then that can help the Democrats. But in a blue state, it's not going to help them at all, unless these guys might decide to vote red. They might think the governor of Texas is cool, gave money and sent him to New York. Man, yeah, that's cool shit. You never know how this is going to play out. But
Well, actually, they're leaving New York and they're going down to
yeah,
D.C. A lot of them are settling around D.C., which is great.
well, a bunch of them are being sent to D.C. They're sending right now. He's sending half the immigrants to D.C. and half to New York. And so's the Arizona governor. She's sending half to New York and half to D.C. But now they're talking about sending some to L.A. and some to Chicago as well, just to shut them up because Chicago deserves it too. Every city, including Portland and Seattle, every city that said they were a sanctuary city needs to start taking their fair share of these immigrants.
They asked for it. They should have it.
They did. They asked for it. Now they should put up or shut up. So, and I guarantee you, within 3 years, a lot of these laws will be changed.
Yeah, and not only should they take them, they should be forced to pay for the transportation from Texas or Arizona or wherever they're getting.
Yeah, you don't want to change the laws, and you deal with it.
Yeah.
And but Texas, Texas is using federal money to ship them around.
Good.
So he's like, no. He said, no, this is legal. I've noticed the red governors lately have started finding ways to use federal money in different constructive ways for their states now, other than just for highways and shit like that, which we need anyway. But infrastructure is always good. But still, it's time for a change, and it's nice to see it. You know what? It's nice to see. It's nice to see Republicans finally grow a set. We went through 8 years with Obama where they were just basically had their finger up their ass the entire time, even though they had controlled the House and the Senate. We've had them on the other. They just, it's time for the Republicans just to say, look, I don't know why they're scared of NBC, CNB, and ABC. They're going to say shit about them no matter what. You might as well get into it with them. At least you're making ground then, because people at least respect the fight. You might even turn some libs your way just for standing up for yourself. But right now, you just look like a cowardly bastard that's running for the field, man. So, I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. See, that's why I couldn't be a politician. First time CNN said something, I'd call it one of the things like, Don, let me say, hey, can I come on your show, dude? Let me explain to you why you're a fucking stupid ass moron. I said, look, obviously you've been smoking that liberal crack and have not really actually did any real research. Let's see what the research shows versus what your stupid mouth shows. And I would use condescending remarks just to piss him off. It's just, sometimes you have to do that. I mean, these people they always want to talk down to everybody. So if you're going to let somebody talk down, you might as well talk back down to them too. To me, it's fun. I'll enjoy it. I'll get a kick out of it. I'll get his audience fired up. I'll even turn some people my way just for being an ass. But Don, he's a pussy. Beep. Sorry. Well, they're like a pussy cat. I'm sorry. You're like meow meow. That's what I meant. Anyway, that's all I meant. People, don't get carried away here. But I mean, he is cowardly. A bunch of the people in CNN and NBC are cowards. They wouldn't stand up against anybody. And you can tell how many of these politicians are cowards because they're scared to go on Fox. Now I've heard Schumer, go on Fox. Yeah, I ain't seen you going there one time. Well, in all fairness, I don't watch Fox, but still, I've never heard about him going on there. How's that? It's hard for me, people. I used to see, and during Desert Storm, I became a devoted CNN fan. Man, CNN was a shit. I mean, they had news everywhere around the world. They were doing the war. They were in the shit. They were everywhere around the world, taking care of things all over our country, getting into all kind of stuff, checking out the FBI, the CIA. They were just into it and then all of a sudden, like 5 or 6, 8 years after the war, they were like, what's going on? And the next thing I know, they're just a liberal rag. I mean, they're really, so CNN just got in trouble because one of their people who are leaving said that they had to get articles approved by Chuck Schumer before they could be released. If that's true, that's a federal crime, man. You can do 25 years for that. So I don't know. We'll see if the FBI investigates into that. Since the whistleblower came out, yeah, because they don't want to. CNN's already in trouble; they're going bankrupt. And somebody told me they sent what's his name from was it Steve Colbert? His producers over there running things now. I think it was.
Yeah, I don't watch CNN. I haven't watched that for so many years. Because
it's a waste of time.
I don't watch any of that stuff anyway. You can't. It's all one side of the other.
It's a waste of time. I mean, so just to put this in perspective,
propaganda. Let's say it's propaganda. It's not news. It's all propaganda.
Well, so what you'll see now, Mike, if you've got a Vizio or Roku or something like that, it doesn't say news anymore. It says opinion news. They don't consider it real news anymore. If it's on cable, they just we're not buying that.
Opinion
News, and that's what it is. Sorry, I don't know. My throat's messed up tonight. But
You got a
I
frog
mean, it's
in
been
there.
that way for years. I mean, they're selling you their opinion, and depending on what station someone watches, you can pretty much tell which way they're going to swing politically.
yeah, I mean, you can. So, I did like when One American News came out. They were trying to get to a little middle, but I've noticed they've gone kind of righty now. There's just nobody who wants to walk down the center, which I'm willing to do it. I'm even willing to set up the station for it, but there's not enough hosts out there that can get in the middle. They're just they can't help themselves. They have to swing left or right. It's like on Roe versus Wade. A friend of mine asked me today. She goes, "Well, what's your opinion?" I said, "Well, I don't like the idea that we kill babies." I said, "But I'm not going to tell a woman that she can't get an abortion." I said, "But I will tell you this: I don't like it being used as birth control." I said, "So yeah," I said, I'm not anti-abortion, but I do think there should be stricter regulations on how come people get abortions." I said, because I personally know people that have had 5 and 6 abortions, which is, by the way, illegal in this country. You're only supposed to be at 3, but even 3 is ridiculous. How often can you? It's one thing if you're raped or if it's incest or if there's something wrong with the baby. Okay, that's a given. Anything after that, I mean, if you're just lazy and you didn't want to use a condom, or or your boyfriend was lazy and didn't want to use a condom, or you're not on any kind of birth control, IDT or something like that, then that's on you. That's not on the baby. That's on your lazy ass, is what that is on. So no, I can't. I can't, in good faith, as a moral person, judge killing babies because somebody was too lazy to wear a
You
condom.
see, I'm the
And I'll even
opposite.
give you one of those. But 3 to 6, no way, man. That's using birth control as I mean, that's
I'm
using
the
abortion as
opposite,
birth
man.
control.
I think you should be able to have an abortion all the way up to 18 years old, because that would keep the kids in line if they knew they could be aborted at any time. I'm going to pick up that phone and get you aborted,
Well, you
okay.
might not be here, Michael, so you should be glad that wasn't a
I'll
lot.
eat my sandwich
She might not made it past 9, my friend.
and do your homework.
Actually, I don't think most boys would have made it through puberty, so it could have been rough. It would be all female society. That could be
Well,
scary.
men are evil, right? Or aren't men evil? That's everything I see
No,
from
no, no, no,
commercials
Michael. That's not true.
to
White
all this
straight men
media.
are evil.
Right.
Okay,
That's all 3 of
get this
us.
shit straight, buddy. White straight men are
We're
evil.
evil.
Everybody else is okay. It's just the white straight men that are evil. You fucking evil bastard, y'all. I'm red, so I don't know about y'all, but I'm red, man. So y'all are evil bastards.
My father was black.
I'm red Mediterranean. Oh wait, shit! I got that damn Scottish in me.
He
God.
wasn't
Yeah,
black, but I tell people that.
I'm Irish and Italian, so I'm Mediterranean and Northern Scotland. So
I was
got
just telling
Greek
somebody
inside
earlier
of me,
today. I
man.
doubt there's a real white man left in the United
Italian,
States.
Greek.
we're all
got that going
mutts,
on.
every one of us. I mean,
Yeah.
I guarantee you,
You white
if we were
man.
all able to take that 23andMe test, none of us are pure one thing or another. We're not
Yeah,
pure
no.
white. We're not pure.
I was actually surprised though. I always coin myself as a mutt, which is 7 or more. So I was like, yeah, there's no doubt. After listening to my family, then I found out that I actually doesn't have. I've only got 5, and they weren't even the 5 that I thought they were, which was really confusing. I got to be honest with you about it, because my family's lineage is through Italian and Spain, but man, 48% of me is Irish.
Montaldo's
Scottish,
a big
and Welsh.
mafia name in Italy.
It is. They actually is a big territory name. There's lots of towns named after us and cities and groups.
Like,
There's all
Mr.
kinds of things. There's little
Montaldo,
chalets and stuff.
Can I
There's
build this
like
business?
Toronto, Montaldo. There's a lot of that stuff over there. But
There's probably even a food like chicken Montaldo.
you know what? You know what? But there's only there's Tuscany Montaldo, which is a town. So yes, there's probably a couple of dishes there. It's man, this place is great. So I met one of the guys there. It's up on this bluff, beautiful town. Right, he owns a pizza restaurant there, and he was telling me about it. He's a Montaldo, by the way, so he lives in. He was telling me all about it because he's on my family page I got for overseas, and he's like, "Man, you should come over. We'll put you up in the chalet. You can come spend a week or 2 with us. I'll show you around Italy the way you should be." He said, "We royalty here, man." I was like, "What do you mean we royalty?" He said, "Yeah, dude, we royalty over here because there's only like 15 Montaldos in the whole USA." But what's confusing is I know we related to like Montalbanos and Montevinos because when you look at the family crest, there's only like 3 or 4 family crests for the group of names that are kind of in the same area as mine. And I noticed at least 3 of us were sharing the same family crest, which means when we came over in the boat, the names were changed a little bit so it wouldn't be as confusing at Ellis Island. But live and learn, live and learn, live and learn. But really, for my last name, last time I checked, at one time there was only 4 of us in the United States. I do think it's like 12 now. So it's kind of strange. Yes. But there's lots of the other ones, like lots of Montalbanos and stuff like that.
Number
What's that,
one for price.
Frankie G.
What?
No, that's what I was just reading. No, I seen that article earlier. No, I was just reading that. New York governor, New York and DC's mayors are flipping out, man. They want Michael to come up there and have their babies. Don't make me
Tell us
mute
more
you,
about
buddy.
the Montaldo family.
Someone break out the Chianti.
I know.
We came to America a long time ago, you know. Started some trash business, and it was going up since then. Then
So
we are
what's
diverse.
this Mueller memo advising Barr on Trump? Are we going to get to see this finally? So the court. So first off, some liberal court said that they had to release the Mueller document that he sent to Barr, and then they appealed that, and the three local judges, probably ninth court because it was out of D.C., they said they had to release it too, but it looks like it might go to a higher court yet, because everybody's like, why do you need to see the Mueller memo? You don't want to see none of the Durham shit. Why do you want to see the Mueller stuff? So, I mean, they're fishing so hard. They got to find something. They're in trouble. If they don't find something to charge Trump on, they're in a world of shit. Between the FBI stuff with the Russia stuff and now again, and you can't charge him, somebody's head's going to roll. It don't matter. Somebody's got to go.
They want him
Comey
to
stepped
announce
down
he's
on
not
his
going to
own.
run again. Even his lawyer alleged that. They want him to, they said, like, if he says he's not going to run again, that's it. All this will go away. So it's blackmail, it's leverage, and nothing but bullying. Bullying someone who would be running for president, which is amazing. Last time they manufactured evidence against him.
Yeah, and it's looking like what they're going to do now, because you're not going to tell me that the FBI hasn't gone through every piece of document they've gotten from Mar-a-Lago. They've probably gone over it 3 times by now. There ain't even no doubt. So what are we waiting on?
They haven't specified. First they said nuclear secrets, which doesn't make any sense. You know, Trump didn't walk off with codes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he doesn't
I don't
even have
know.
access. That's not even how that shit works.
Even if
What do you
let's just
think?
say
You couldn't even walk out with the nuclear football. That's not how that shit works. He
Even
don't
if he
even
could,
the one carrying it.
even if he could, once he's left office, his codes are invalid
Yeah,
anyway.
they're useless.
So I mean,
But
all it
so
is a souvenir.
there's been at least a dozen constitutional lawyers come out and said, including some Democrats, and said he's the commander in chief. He can declassify anything he wants. He does not need Congress's approval or anyone else. He is the final say. He is the commander in chief. He told the media,
while he's president.
the guy told the media, while he's president, he said the guy told the media, look, dude, if he took documents while he was president, he's well within his rights. He said, you can't tell him that he can't, because he's the commander in chief and there's no one above him. And he told the media again, stop thinking you're above the president or the FBI or Congress is above the president. It's the other way around. He is the final say. And if he said they're unclassified, they're unclassified.
But by doing all these things, the only thing they're going to do is polarize his support and get him more support. You know, that's that. So maybe that's what they want.
I see Giuliano's got to come testify for the June 6th committee. I'll be so glad when November gets here, man, because they need to win this and get a committee going on the Democrats, because there's so much corruption going on right now. It'll be easy to blow it out. There's so much stuff they could talk about as far as what went on with the judge. I mean, what went on with the cops. Where was Nancy Pelosi? Why didn't she call in more police? Why didn't the police?
What about the big guy?
Bring in more
what
police?
About the money to the big guy and all that? I mean, there's a lot of scandals that are there. You know.
There are, and they need to be dealt. Look, they're going to try every trick they can not to let the Republicans in November, because they can't take it. Hey, kitty, they can't take it. See, when I was talking about pussy earlier, there you go. There's a kitty cat. The Democrats know they're in deep shit. Even right now, what they're saying, all this stuff's going on, CNN, AP is trying to blow smoke up their ass, but their people aren't saying that. When you poll their people, they're still polling bad. I mean, they're not satisfying the people, and nobody believes that this so-called deal is going to help anybody but the Democrats. Even the Democrats don't believe it. When they polled them, only 25% said, "Oh, it's going to help us." The other 75% said, "No, we don't think it's going to do anything while Joe's president." And then on top of that, so one of the big Democrats came out, one of Stacey Abrams' helpers came out and said, "No, Biden has to step down. Somebody else has to run." And Biden said, "No, I'm not stepping down. I'm going to run." He said, "I will I will have 2 terms, and I will be president again." He said, "I'm not unless Hunter Biden stuff comes out or he has some kind of health catastrophe. He's running. He thinks. Let me tell you what. I've been listening to him. He thinks that he's doing a great job. That the economy is booming. That the media is just hating on him, just blanket hating on him. He's even saying CNN are hating on him. I'm like, really, dude? These people love you. Shut up before you do turn them on you." But he's. I read again today. Oh, the state unemployment records prove it. Well, the state unemployment record was low when Trump was in office. Let's just be honest about that from the get go. Louisiana's was the lowest I ever seen it. The country's that was at 3.5. I said so, and that's where we are right now. So not a big difference. We're just going back to where we were. That's a good friend of mine was like, "We made 3 million jobs. We made 3." I said, "Really?" I said, "So we gained back the part of the jobs we lost." I said, "We lost 5 million jobs during. Actually, we lost 12 million during COVID." I said, "So we've only gotten about 7 million back." So I said, "Why don't we talk about the other 5 million jobs? Where are they? Why do you think you see help wanted signs everywhere you go?
Yeah,
Everywhere." I'm like,
a
why do
great
you think
example,
businesses are
just
closing?
this
Because they
evening.
can't get help. I mean,
Yeah, just this evening, I swear to God, like 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago, at 6 o'clock, I went to get pizza, and one of the pizza guys went outside with 2 help wanted signs and put them on either side of their front sign on the front of their building because they need people to work.
that's the thing, and a lot of people have gone to the internet to making money now. In a way, I
But
hate to.
can people support themselves on the pizza
A lot
shop
of people are supporting
or
themselves
Dunkin'
on the
Donuts?
internet.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you want to, yeah, well, that's
Snapchatter
that's neither
influencers.
here nor there. A lot of
Not
the
even
white
that. A
collar
lot of them are
jobs
making little
went to the
businesses
wayside.
online,
A lot of the white
selling
collar
product.
jobs went to the wayside, and now their pay went down on the scope is what I see out there. The people that were making in the 70s, they lowered that after COVID down to 50s. These companies are stealing from people and they're using their an advantage against them. So when people see the market, they get discouraged is because they think the money's not
See
there or the
down here
jobs aren't there.
pays.
If you go on Indeed and you look for these jobs, much of them have 500 or 600 people who put an
Oh, well, that's
application, and you
true. A
can
lot of
see
them do
the
have a
amount.
lot of applications. A lot of them do, but
But
pay down here on
600
up is up
people
about
for
25%.
one job. So then you're working at some big box store. You're doing something like that. You know what I mean? And trying to make that money. And by the time you pay taxes, by the time you get all that out, there's no money left. I mean, you're broke. You're the working poor.
Well,
So I
see,
mean, in
it's
America right now, if you're single with no kids, no obligations, you need to make at least $1,000 a week. And then after taxes in New York, I could tell you that's more like 800,
wait. See,
750.
you don't have to make
And
that kind of
I
money
mean,
down here. You can live on way cheaper than that down here. But right now,
I'm
pay
not
and
talking about that. I'm not talking about your geography. I'm talking about right this second what's going on today. So what people, and then if you got
yeah, but
kids,
it's different.
you
That's what I'm
got
saying, Mike. It's different in different parts of the country.
Yeah.
If you're on the upper East
right.
Coast, you're getting screwed. But if you're on the upper West Coast, you're not. Or in the South, you're not. Wages are up almost 40% in the South and almost 60% on the West Coast. They're going up. And
I'm
that's one of the
telling you what
reasons you
I
can't
see out
find cheap
there
help anymore.
in this job market. What I see, and then they have these huge job fairs. They amount to nothing. They have nothing. Gas stations and things like that. You're still talking about not the level of employment people are looking for. So when they say jobs created or jobs vacant, that's what they're talking about. Then when people get kicked off of their unemployment, they don't get counted at all. So they go back into the pool. So they say less people are on unemployment because they're getting kicked off. Not that they found something. So I mean, back in the day, I was always able to make some money on Long Island, man, always. I drove a limousine between jobs. I was making $1,000 a day doing that. $1,000 a day, for getting dressed up and going out and basically partying with people, right? It's kind of what it was. These days, things are completely different. And also, on a certain level, the job market was flooded with illegal aliens. You have that going on too.
Yeah,
So,
you got to compete with that,
there's
unfortunately.
things that have shifted and changed. But when they say they created these jobs, they don't talk about the ones that were lost. They just talk about, and they're not talking about what types of jobs that were created. They're talking about just jobs created. When Joe Biden says jobs created, it's just words. He doesn't look at statistics or numbers or go over any of that. He's just, look, this is what we've done. They're bragging about the reduction in fuel costs going down 15 cents when they went up a couple of bucks.
Mm-hmm.
These people are crazy. You know, they want to claim, well, they've done all kinds of great things. They haven't done anything good. We're in a crisis in every area. That's all you need to say. And people
You're
are
absolutely
at the
right. And
melting
the
point.
other thing that they don't do is when they're looking for unemployment numbers, they look at how many people have applied for unemployment insurance. So, like in what month one, let's say 50,000 people apply for it throughout the country. And the next month, there's, let's say, 10,000 people. They look at that as a reduction. They don't count the 50,000 people who applied last month who are still getting it as part of that number. All of a sudden, those people disappear. They're not part of the unemployment problem. This next month, oh, we had 10,000 people apply. Well, unemployment is down. No, it isn't. You just didn't consider the previous months that you've been counting as part of your current statistic.
Right. They're going to count the numbers they want, which is what
exactly. It's to their benefit, to the whatever party's in charge benefit.
Well, they can try to do that, but people forget there's always the U6 unemployment rate, which nobody ever wants to talk about. That's the real unemployment rate. That's the amount of Americans out that's not working that are no longer on unemployment. So you take those people plus the people on unemployment and you combine the two numbers. So the unemployment rate in the United States is 3.6%. The people who are unemployed that's not collecting unemployment is 7.2%, which makes the real unemployment rate in the United States 10.8%, which is right because the other day we talked about on last week's show that there's 100 million Americans not working. That would make it right around 10%. So,
which is a third of the country, basically.
Which is a third of the country, basically, out of work. Yeah. Now, in all fairness, probably a third of those people are people who are retired because they just get lumped into the bunch. But still, that's a lot of Americans out of work that nobody wants to talk about. And under Trump, it was only 8%, which is still high, but it was only 8%. On Obama, it was 16%.
Yeah.
So but that's the real unemployment rate. It's called the U6, people. Currently, it is sitting at 7.2%. So it's actually climbed from July. It actually went up. So you've got that plus the 3.6 that gives you a 10.8 unemployment, almost 11% of Americans out of work. And still we have unemployment signs everywhere. And the problem is, and this is what's happening in the South and in the West, wages went up so high, so fast that the shitty jobs couldn't keep up. So those people went to work for companies. A lot of these companies were willing to hire people who had never been in these fields before, that they could train. So these lower wage jobs got left behind because these people got better jobs. Now there's nobody down here to flip hamburgers anymore or make chicken or wait on the tables. Every restaurant in this town, actually both in Mississippi and Louisiana, are short staffed. I know I was talking to a friend of mine, Ed, who owns several restaurants. He was opening a new one. He had to close. He actually sold it to somebody else because he couldn't get the people. And this was a small restaurant. Only needed 5 people to run it. He couldn't even get those 5 people. His current staff were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Now they're raking in the bucks, but still, man, you can't keep that up forever.
Combine that.
The unemployment thing is so bad, Joe. This afternoon, I'm driving around Duke University, which is in South or North Carolina, I don't remember which. They advertised on the radio, the local radio here in Chambersburg, half an hour from me, the city from me. They advertising for nursing jobs, LPNs, RNs, and whatever, CPNs, I think. They're paying a sign-on bonus, a retention bonus, and a relocation bonus if you'll move down there from this area to fill up their nursing facilities that need nurses. That's bad.
Yeah, because a lot of that going on. A lot of nurses and doctor shortage going on.
Advertising 3, 4, 5 states away. That's critical.
Yeah, it is.
Plus care workers, but food-wise, you're looking at shortages everywhere. I don't know if you've noticed the price of turkey has gone through the roof because of all the bird flu. They had to kill millions of turkeys, and chickens are kind of close behind. But now you have, I was reading a report that they're bringing a lot of these cattle, the breeding stock, because they can't afford, to slaughter. They can't afford to support them. They can't afford the seed, the grain. They can't afford even the water in some instances because there's droughts everywhere. There's worldwide droughts, worldwide. So there's things happening that are going to affect the food supply in the short term. So by Christmas, the price of red meat will be double what it is now, because there won't be the availability. Yeah, there won't be the availability, but there's no government support of these people. They're supporting major corporations, but not the family farm.
Oh my God, Liz Cheney's going to run for president.
Who?
Miss Piggy.
Liz
Miss Piggy.
Cheney.
No.
Miss Piggy.
Oh my God.
Under what party? Under
The Republican Party.
Under
The
the shoot
Republicans
your
don't
friend in
want
the
her.
face party, I'll bet you.
The pubs don't want her. She's more of a Democrat.
She's going to run as a Republican. She said she's still loved by Republicans, just not in her state. I'm like, really?
It's not even her state, apparently. Apparently, she's never there.
Yeah, that they say that about a lot of the politicians these days, and it is true. A lot of them are just not there.
One of Trump's kids said that at least she doesn't have to pretend she's from Wyoming anymore.
Oh, wait, here's another one. Biden's chief says he's comparable to his historic predecessor, John F. Kennedy. Okay, first off, Kennedy didn't do dick, and he screwed around every chance he got. He was sleeping with me. I mean, I'm not, I don't look, people. I'm not a Kennedy hater. Okay, it's just he had 3 years, and half the time he was screwing Maryland and hanging out with the Rat Packs. I'm not exactly sure what he did. I mean, he kind of started the space program, but he's not the one that completed it or got us to the moon. And other than that, he liked to got us in a war with Khrushchev. But other than that, I mean, what did he do?
He employed the CIA not the CIA, the Secret Service to sneak women into the White House for his.
Yeah, there you go.
Voice.
I mean,
really, he literally did that.
Maybe Biden is comparable to this guy after all. I don't know, but
Hunter. He's more of a hunter.
Yeah,
really, I mean, think about it. The Kennedys
so wait,
more of a hunter.
Let's
that
backtrack
kind of
to
Playboy. I don't think they smoke crack. They probably would have if they could have.
Oh, I don't know. I heard that they said that was on his laptop that he was smoking crack, Hunter. So
no, I mean JFK.
No, they were smoking something else.
Crack.
Well, we know JFK was taking drugs. He was being injected in the back with cortisone shots and painkillers, like epidural shots, because of his back problems from the war. Yeah,
from the war. That's true too.
He was constantly high most of the time.
They didn't want to talk about it back then, but you can talk about it now. But let's talk about Munchkin for a minute, since he might not be a senator in 2 years or whatever he comes out. I think it's 2 years. It's looking bad for him, man. I've heard quite a few of the unions come out now. The people are coming out against him. And then it sounds like his little thing backfired on him. So
his penis backfired on him.
It might have backfired, but it seems like first of it looks like his little goal to keep oil drilling and keep coal going. The AOC's group is having a fit about it, so they might have to do something to take it out. So even though it's passed, I don't know how they're going to do that. I guess they could reallocate the money for something else now that it's passed, and Munchkin can't do nothing about it. So it looks like he got played, and now he's all but one mining company's come out against him, and most of all the workers from all the mining companies come out against him. So he might not get reelected. He might be. He sold out, man. He sold out to people in Virginia. He sold them out.
You get that kind of union behind you or against you, you're done politically, at least.
Yeah. It looks like he's had it. It's just, he's just pissed off everybody off. It's and then how much money Trump has made since they raided his Key Largo. I mean, it's insane.
$50.
Yeah, he hasn't even he's breaking records, and he haven't even damn started campaigning yet.
Yeah.
Campaign donations.
They're millions of dollars.
Not his personal business interests. You mean just campaign donations?
No, they're just making donations to Donald Trump. He hasn't officially made a campaign yet. He's never said he's going to run yet.
The answer to the question is going to tell you if he's going to run yet. Has he re-immersed himself in business again? Or has he kept the distance so he can go back to being a president?
No, he hasn't. He stayed out.
He had to cut a lot of ties to do that business-wise.
Right, but he's been staying pretty much in Florida for the last couple of years. He hadn't really done
much.
But
has he re-immersed himself in the business, or are his sons just running the business? I haven't seen how Trump has entered the mainstream again. He's kind of stayed in the political realm.
Yeah, he has. He hasn't got back in mainstream yet.
Yeah, I think his daughter and his sons are taking care of all that.
Ooh, Mike, you better be careful, man. The concealed carry law takes effect very, very soon.
Miss Piggy lost by the landslide, man. Landslide.
Yeah. So I can't believe you, New Yorkers. I'm proud to see you're back in the freeness of the United States, and you can carry a concealed weapon again. I'm glad to hear that.
They're playing games with that. They're creating safe zones and doing all this stuff.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court. You heard what the Supreme Court told them, right? Stop playing games, or somebody's going to be held in contempt. So I don't know.
What a lot of people are doing, they're going to other states and buying handguns like Pennsylvania or Ohio, where you can get them much easier, and the laws, and then coming back to New York with your handgun and then
Wow,
registering it that
you
way
see,
without
down in the
having to
South,
jump through the New York fire.
yeah, down here and out west, you can't buy a handgun unless you buy it in your state. Whatever your ID or license says, that's where you got to buy it. They won't let you buy it out of
Because
state.
you're a bunch of hicks, man. We're
No, we
different.
smart. We smart. We don't trust. We're not like you dumb Yankees. Let people go crazy. People go buy guns. That's why there's far more mass shootings up there than there is down here. There's virtually none in the South. It's just
Are
'cause
there
we just
in New
there's
York?
hardly none in the
Mass
South.
shootings?
They're
Because
all over
people
up
carry
there, man.
shotguns on the back window of their truck. That's
I
Well,
really
remember
not
one that
anymore.
was
They
in
don't.
Buffalo.
You know, it's funny because
Well,
in the
How
old
many
days they
mass
used to.
shootings
They
were
don't
in New
anymore.
York? Especially per capita. It's not too bad. If you think about it, a lot of mass shootings are in California. If you think,
Yeah. So yeah. See, I'm reading the
Florida,
article.
they like their
So
mass shootings.
the federal judge, the federal Supreme Court judge in New York, said that safe zones can only be in zones like in banks or hospitals. You can't, if it's a department store, you can't say it's a safe zone, or think a casino, something where there's a lot of money. Anything else like Starbucks can't be a safe zone. The department store can't be a safe zone. None of that shit can be considered safe zone. So
I mean,
I don't know
all
what
this-
New York's going to do. The governor can't override the judge, so I don't know what she's going to do about it. They're going to try to pass another bill. All this is going to go in front of the Supreme Court, and it's going to get overturned.
And I'll bet you, even if it goes through all that safe zone crap, I mean, the reason why there are so many shootings in schools is because they have, and I think the Democrats put this legislation through, is that all schools are gun-free zones. Now, if you're going to go shoot somebody, where are you going to go shoot them? You're not going to go to the police station because there's guns there. You're not going to go to the gun store because there's people with guns there.
Yeah,
You're not going
down
to go
here,
to the shooting range because there's guns there. You go to the schools, you go to the shopping malls, you go to the strip malls. That's where all the shootings are taking place. They're in strip malls, malls.
and in the South, it's
stores.
a mishmash of which schools people have guns and which ones don't.
When the mass shooters,
Most of the southern cities, that schools and cities have security guards on standby.
When-
Yeah,
when
they're
the mass
unarmed
shooters
generally.
decide-
They don't have a firearm on them, but you know,
when they decide to go kill people, they're obviously going to break the law. So they don't care what laws are
Clearly.
in place. You can make all the laws you want. They're going to do it anyway. And number two, they've already decided to do it. They're committed. They go to a place where there's people, and then they shoot those people. Now, the local, like the one in Buffalo, that kid was from over by in Conklin, over by Binghamton, and let me tell you, as a former contact tracer, calling into Conklin, that was one of my, Broome was one of my counties. You automatically knew what you're going to get when someone answers the phone, and that they're going to be combative. I don't believe in no COVID or curse you out. It was that kind of feeling in that town. You hear what I'm saying? This kid was that kind of kid. Even though both of his parents worked for New York State, which is kind of interesting. He drove all the hell the way to Buffalo to shoot black people. And if you know Binghamton, there's no shortage of black people in Binghamton. So it's interesting that he chose to do that and go that far, even to commit the crime.
That's a long drive. Binghamton's at the bottom of the state. Buffalo's near the top. That's what a good 4 or 5 hour drive, easy.
No, good 3.5 hours you can get there. But the fact of the matter is he did that. And he was scoping out areas of predominantly black people. You could drive the same amount of time down to Brooklyn or the Bronx, but people are going to shoot back is the thing.
Yeah.
you go down there, they're going to shoot back. I'm sure this guy wasn't prepared for that, but these are people he shot just going to the super. I'm just saying that that's what draws them in. So it's kind of a bogey you really can't stop unless you know that it's going to happen. You can't just guess right now, oh, this guy's going to go in and shoot this place up, a movie theater, or there's a parade, and they're going to shoot people at a parade. Those people got shot at that parade, in the Midwest, the 4th of July parade. That freak dressed up as that woman and shot those people, So, I mean, whatever. You can't stop it unless you know what's going to happen,
you can't stop it. You can't prevent it. You can only be prepared and proactive. Or not proactive, a little bit of proactive, but mostly it's reactive. You don't know until they start shooting to go and send the police in.
All these people have been politically driven, like almost forced, because they're such mental idiots. They've been pushed over the edge. They've been mentally driven by a political force out there that has vilified certain people, that's letting criminals go, that's telling people they're stupid, they're this, they're that, for their political opinions. I'll tell you, man, it's bad. It's bad. And there's a lot of them out there. Then in the cities, you have the gang violence. You have the crime. Those are illegal guns that they're using to shoot each other. And look at the weekend, 80 murders. This one had 50 murders, Chicago, New York City, or LA. Man, or around Miami, whatever, it doesn't matter. People killing each other. But you don't hear the liberals scream about that. Like they say mass shootings, but they don't say, well, what about these other shootings, about the illegal guns. So I don't know, man. It's all just I don't think any of them care is the thing. It's all politically motivated. They just care about the politics and collecting the check, when it comes to donation time.
Or being seen as the savior at the end of the day because they make legislature to try to prevent the next one.
Even Joe's driving through traffic with his machine gun, trying to get people
right.
off his ass
I don't like going nowhere without my gun.
In New Orleans. I see there in the background, man.
Yeah, she's right there behind me. So I'm looking at the latest polling numbers. So Biden is polling between 36% and 43 is his highest, and that's Rasmussen. U.S. government's got him at 38. ISPO's got him at 38. Redfield's got him at 39. Big Village 38. Your government's got him at 38. Morning Consul's got him at 40.
Huffington Post has him at 87. What's up with that?
He is 87.
CNN 94.
Who does?
Yeah, no. So really and truly, he's still polling below 40%. They can try to spew it any way they want, but his numbers just aren't coming out like that because this is NBC poll says that there's a poll. Who would you vote for, Democrats or Republicans? 42 said Republicans, 44 said for Democrats in the midterm. Now, of course, this is an MSNBC poll, which has no. But what's sad about this because there's no conservatives on MSNBC, so this is all Democrats.
It means nothing.
So still only 44% of the Democrats said they're going to vote for, and 42% they're going to vote for Republicans. That means they've already lost.
Yeah,
that's what people don't understand when they see
plus
these
or minus
polls.
Percentage error rate on that? 3 or 4?
Let's see if it's going to tell us. 4.
So basically, the country's divided. Who didn't already know that?
Yeah, but this, like I said, this is all MSNBC poll. Mm-hmm. There are no conservatives taking this poll. I have tried to find I actually put out a poll to find out what conservatives actually do CNN and NBC poll. I couldn't even find one person who said they did. Wow. So it's being taken over there. There's no conservatives over there. So when you see polls, especially when you see 44%, that's just liberals. And if he's only getting 44% and 42% are saying they're going to vote for Trump, you got an issue. I mean, you've lost in a big way, and they just don't want to admit it. Is what it is. They're trying to use these numbers to try to garner support, but it's not going to work because the closer we get, and the Republicans really haven't started smashing them yet either. They won't do that for another month or two, and that's all you're going to hear about the Jan 6 stuff, and then you're going to hear about the FBI stuff, and then you're going to hear one thing after that where the economy's at, and then what Russia's doing. I mean, how we left Afghanistan. All of that's going to be all over the media just before the election.
We just got past the anniversary of Afghanistan.
Yeah,
and think about the tens of billions of bucks of equipment we left behind, not including people.
Florida state attorney slaps Ron DeSantis with a lawsuit. Dude, you just got yourself thrown out of office, you dumbass. Picking on DeSantis with his wife dying of cancer is just stupid. He's not going to win public support. Yeah, he's doing good too. It's let's see.
Horrible state if you think about it. Bugs and snakes.
Chinese response to Pelosi's visit, a sign of future intentions.
Florida.
So they were trying to say that, China's going to do this, China's going to do that, China's going to do this. Well, 2 of China's people that defected and went to the UK said Xi Jinping is not going to ever invade Taiwan as long as the United States is a world power. He said and Europe's a world power. He said because we'll be bankrupt in 3 weeks. He said this ain't Russia. Russia's got at least got some of its own food. China's got 4.4 billion people.
All the unsafe intercepts going on from China to America are planes and all that, So they're testing the water. They're pushing. They're definitely pushing.
Well, all those areas are unstabilized right now. I mean, of course, Russia and Ukraine right now, but Afghanistan is becoming unhinged. Tehran, there's some kind of turmoil that's happening in Tehran, Iran, Iraq. the Taiwan thing, it's not a good time of the year for anybody. But I can guarantee you this: even if China doesn't invade Taiwan, if the Russians blow up that nuclear plant that they're set in right now, World War III is going to break out. I mean, there's no question that that's the largest power plant for the entire country of Europe, which right now Russia controls, and they're diverting all that energy
Well,
back to Russia, not
the
into
problem
Europe.
is the troops set up inside the
Right, and they're
nuclear
using it as a
facility.
munitions depot. They got their
Yeah, so they're
ammunition there.
shooting
They got
from
their
there, and they're drawing fire from the Ukrainian
right,
troops, and they know that they can't really fire upon that location because of that.
right, but if that because of Russia's deployment of troops into the facility, if it explodes and melts down, all of Europe is going to go to war against them because that's their biggest power plant. And right now, he's diverting power away from Europe, but so that hurts them right now. And
They just shut down a gas.
Tried to declare war already, but that whole situation, if Zaporozhye power plant explodes, the planet's going to war.
They just shut down a big pipeline for natural gas to Germany that supplies a lot of natural gas. I remember when they signed that deal with Russia, and I on the air, I was like, that's the dumbest thing they could do. They're trusting Russia and doing all this other stuff, and here we are. Here we are. This is Germany for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
and we can thank all this on Biden for sure.
Good for them. They're also sexual deviants, if you know any Germans. If you know any, I'll take their number. I'd like to explore that topic a little bit more, maybe on my show.
They're saying let's move people from California to Wyoming so Liz can get her job back.
There you go.
And most people that say she runs for president, they're just going to laugh. They think she said so they could just watch her lose. People just don't like her. And, she only got in on her daddy's name anyway.
Why would you like her? I didn't like her father. I like her.
Yeah.
Damn, Chinese sentences tycoon Exo to John Hu to 13 years, fines his company $8.1 billion. Damn, China's hurting for money bad, man. They're hurting.
Yeah.
Man. Well, the World Bank said China's on the verge of bankruptcy. So they may go back to a third world country on their own. But one thing America did prove to them with Russia is that we can make you a third world country. We are the people who made you a second world country. And we are the ones who can stop you from going any further. And Europe proved it to them. Europe's been cutting them off. The United States has been cutting them off. We just got to worry about stupid Biden wanting to give them stuff. But the world's tired of China. We don't want to be threatened. We don't want to be worried about this. What's funny? The world's still more angry with China than they are with Russia invading the Ukraine. Figure that one out. It has more to do
millions
with
of people.
Yeah,
They knew about COVID. They knew it escaped. They bought people plane tickets to go all over the world. The Chinese government did that. 700,000
They re-engineered the disease specifically to be this kind of weapon.
It was a biological weapon that they released with their own people, sending them around the world. They knew what they were doing. It was an economic killer. Do you think that the whole timeline, especially with Russia and all this other provocation with this idiot Biden, they're taking advantage of the situation? This was planned. This didn't just happen. You know what I mean? But they're taking advantage of what's going on. So China, they're very dangerous. They're most dangerous on the planet, to the whole planet, is the Chinese. They don't act with emotion and love and compassion and nothing. It's the communist government, their way or no way. Look how they treat their own people. Look how they treat their own people. That guy going to prison, that billionaire, that's forced labor, man. He's not going to have a good time. They're going to re-educate him, and that 8 years, the guy's not. If he lives. I mean, they're selling people's organs in China. You go to jail or mysteriously die, and they carve people up. So all that stuff needs to be answered. The work camps they have and all that. But Russia's not much different. That Brittany Griner actually went to a gulag. Things would happen to her that she wouldn't even imagine. And that's the only thing that compels me to say bring her home. You know what I mean? Because she is an American. And maybe she doesn't have that respect for other Americans, but I do. And nobody should be subjected to
that's the problem. She's made so many enemies hating on America that nobody wants to help her. When they polled, do you think we should bring her back or should she pay for her crimes? The majority of Americans said she should pay for her crimes, and that we shouldn't be letting out some mad murderer, crazy bastard for some crackhead. I mean, and that's just how the country feels about it, and that's not
She
going to
should have
change.
went to court and sang the goddamn anthem.
You know, I mean, yeah, she should have, because at least ever got America behind her. So I don't, I don't know. You would think, and she did. She just hated on America nonstop. So why would you expect anybody in the country to take up for you? And then you brought in drugs to it. You bought drugs, and you're not even from anywhere over there, but you bought drugs from one country and brought it into another country. I mean, and then you brought it into Russia. Why would you bring it into Russia?
Because she's an
You're
idiot.
an American. We're at war.
I'll tell you why she did it, because she was expecting her celebrity to get her through without being caught and
She's
arrested.
overprivileged and an idiot. Have you ever listened to her talk? I mean, she's no brainiac. She's a big dumb jock. You know?
Yeah.
It's really what it is.
But it's a good thing she's a big old girl, because it'll help keep her from getting cremated and wanted in prison.
She's worth about $5 million.
You know, but
She
the
makes
Russians,
more in the
not
Russian
anymore.
end than she does in America.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the Russians want that guy, and I don't know. It's a hard sell for America. America's not really going for that. You know, we're like, no.
Bullcrap.
No.
That guy. You know what? At the end of the day, he's an arms dealer who is a businessman, and in a lot of circles, maybe your average Joe Blow living there in his life couldn't understand what the guy actually does. He's not a terrorist in the same vein as Osama bin Laden, but he sells weapons to terrorists. He sells weapons to governments who aren't allowed to have those weapons in the black market. That market's been there for years, and he's not the only one. So is he the worst person in the world? He's a bad guy. We have him in prison for 25
Guilty by
years.
association.
And they knew at some point they'd be able to trade him, but they want to trade for her plus another dude who was in the CIA who got caught in Russia and trying to get him back and whatever secrets he's got. You know what I mean? So it's not just the one guy. They're looking to trade for both. I say leave her there, but then I think of my heart kicks in. I do have one. It kicks in like I don't want to see her treated like that. You know what I mean? Like, just if you're gonna go to prison for 9 years, that's one thing. But she'll be raped and beaten and all that. When you think of what they're gonna do to her,
I'm thinking, Mike, I hate to say it, she might be doing the rape and beating. She might not be in the one getting raped and beaten.
these are Russian males who are gonna have a good time doing whatever they want to do, and that's what prompts me to say, she's an American, bring her home, fuck Russia. You know what I mean?
Well, but based on that, she may not get the maltreatment that other, say, Russian prisoners would get. And,
I wouldn't bet on it. I think guys are lining up.
It's good your heart goes out to her, but she did the crime and she doesn't want to pay the price. And hey, look,
they already listed the gulag she'd be going to, which is known for women getting beaten up and raped and all that. They do unspeakable things to people. So it's that's the reality of it, I guess. That's the reality. She might be able to get a job within the prison teaching basketball, doing something athletic. But it doesn't mean that the guards aren't going to do what they want to do. It happens here in the U.S. They catch guards all the time.
If she got caught here, she'd be in the same type of jeopardy. Maybe not as brutal, but
not for hash oil. Maybe not even heroin. I don't know what gets you time these days. Not paying your taxes, I guess. Screw the IRS. You'll get time. But
it just depends.
You can do all kinds of crime.
Not in the South, you can't. We put you in jail for doing crimes down here, my friend. Even the liberal city of New Orleans, you still going. She's been trying, but crime's gotten so bad she's screwed. I got to tell you about our mayor there. They say so. Our mayor gets on television and starts telling me about this new target that's coming to New Orleans East. Right, New Orleans East is kind of a rough place, on and off. So she's talking about how they're going to be it, and it's a done deal, and the land's already sold, and the contract's done, right? Target calls in and says, "You're a liar. We're not putting any store out in New Orleans East. What are you, crazy?" I mean, they just called her flat out. We're not putting a store out there. New Orleans East is a rough area, and it needs to calm down. They used to have lots of shops out there, but it got so bad after Katrina that they're not putting any out there. The economy's not good enough to take care of them anyway. So Target was like, "No, you're lying." I mean, this woman hasn't done nothing since she's been mayor, but make the crime go up in our city. So she's from Compton, California.
No, straight out of.
She came down here to go to school at Xavier and ended up being mayor. Only in the United States can that happen. Only in the Chocolate City can that happen. She's pretty racist to top it all off. So yeah, it's I've started calling out racists. I don't care. People say, "Oh, white people being racist." Well, now I'm calling anybody black that's racist. I'm calling them out, man. So I ain't putting up with it no more. If I got to hear how white people are racist, we're gonna say how everybody's racist.
Yeah, the shoe fits on both feet.
Yes, it does. Yeah, ain't no reason not to act like it don't either. It's one of those things. What was that, Carolyn? I didn't. I haven't heard anything about that in Europe. I haven't heard anything really in Europe lately. They just seeming to be quiet because of this Ukrainian thing. I know America's sending the Ukraine $750 million really soon. Oh, I think they already did actually. We all together. I think we're going to end up when it's all said and done. We'll probably with everything going to Ukraine, all the packages, will probably end up somewhere around $100 billion.
Easily.
Yeah, that means that well, $100 billion. And there's 300 million Americans. Do the math and see how much of that money could have been yours. If you do just what our country's in debt for, everybody in America would be really rich. For $30 trillion, you could make a lot of Americans rich. Yeah, Cokes would just go up to like $15 a bottle and shit, but still.
Yeah. Oh no! Like what is it in the Running Man? It's like the girl's trying to get a Coke out of the Coke machine, and she's like $26. It's like, wow, yeah,
Yeah, because I mean that's probably what would end up happening. But we give so much money around the world, but yet we have homeless, starving people.
Mm-hmm.
We give out money, we waste money all over. I mean, look at this almost $1 trillion we're wasting.
Our money
that's coming up, and it's all our money, and we're not getting any of it.
Nope.
But I got to give the southern states credit lately, and even some of the heartland states. They've been using a lot of federal money and figuring out ways to give it back to their citizens. DeSantis started it when he started giving all them parents $500 per kid. Federal money, he just used the Fed's money to do it. He's like, no, that's what needs to be done.
Well, if you don't have a kid, what if you get a cat or a dog?
Yeah, you get a pat on the back.
No kid money, but some of the other states
that costs money. You got to feed them. You got to go to the vet, just like a kid.
But other states are figuring out other ways to give out money to people. It's look, they're trying. They're trying to create a welfare state where that 10 or 15% of America is living off of handouts from the government, and then how they're going to vote. They're going to vote for whoever gives them the most shit.
Dependent. That's what they want. That's what globalization is all about. That's why your seeds are going sterile. That's why a lot of animals are dying now. That's why they say in the Midwest they're not going to be able to grow corn within 10 years because of the conditions. So then we rely on Ukraine, we rely on Russia, we rely on other grain providers. And
we don't have to
cut food off. They can't. Look what's going on now. And we don't have to do
it. That's
America
the problem.
Can be self-sufficient.
America technically is self-sufficient. We most of our food comes from in-house,
but we're not. We could be fuel self-sufficient, and we could be
we're only fuel not self-sufficient. Yeah, because of Biden
too.
But everybody forgets the U.S. still supplies a big chunk of the world's grain. Ukraine does now too, but remember we fed Russia and China for almost 50 years.
We got the good grain.
Easy
we
for
don't
us.
have the radioactive grain. We got the good grain.
Yeah, we got the good grain, and we got more than that. We got a lot of other stuff. We got lots of fruits and vegetables. I mean, down here, it's pretty much everything you like. The other day we went shopping, so all the bell peppers, all the onions, everything in the produce department is local. Even the avocados.
Now, are you a green pepper kind of guy, or do you like the colored peppers?
They're all the same pepper, man. What are you talking about?
One's just right. No, they're definitely that answer just tells me everything. How about you, Jay?
No, they are. Green is the least ripe.
How about you?
Yellow is the next ripe. Red is the most ripe, which is the sweetest of the three. What are you talking about? I grow bell peppers, man. We grow our own food down here. We ain't like you Yankees that don't know how to grow food. Get the hell out of here, man.
Oh, man. I'll tell you, my favorite pizza is green pepper and onions, and I got one upstairs right now.
I got big boys grow like this, man. Big as your head, man. Jesus. No, we really do grow a lot of our own food down here. We really and the locals like to grow a lot. And what's interesting about living in the South? There's a farmer's market like every 10 miles. And they got all kind of shit in there, man. You name it, it's all local produce, it's all local.
But it's
honey,
easy
it's all local beef.
For areas like where I live, which is agricultural, which is nothing around here but farms, cows, all that low population. To feed itself very easily.
Yeah, and they will feed themselves, but then they got whatever's left over gets to go to the cities.
We have 100 vineyards, so you got their dairy farms, all that. But try feeding 8 million people, New York City area. Try flipping where they have no food. So you have dense populations. When the crap hits the fan, there's going to be shock waves, and
Yeah,
these
and
little
then them
areas can
stupid city
sustain.
people are going to
Yeah,
run out into the suburbs and the rural areas and get their asses shot because everybody out in the rural areas got
Because they're
guns.
trying to steal people's corn.
That's right, because everybody in the rural areas got guns.
try to steal my corn.
It'd be a damn
God
massive
damn.
shootout, man. Um,
I got cornfield right across the ways. I got cornfields all around me, right?
but Katrina,
I'm surrounded by cornfields as well. Yeah.
And also
You know-
across the street, down the road, there's a solar farm. So you have this huge hill full of solar panels. You know what's crazy? It's weird. I don't like it. I feel weird about it. You know, it's ugly.
probably because
It's
it's
real
irradiating your
eyesore
ass, man. It's
if you
probably
look
irradiating
at that over there. But I feel like if the power ever goes out, there's power here.
Yeah, just plug into one of them solar panels.
And corn. And you got corn.
Show me
Got
your
the lakes. They had the fish in the lakes. You know what I mean? And you could sustain. In the city, you can't. There's no way you can rope it off and sustain. You know, those people are going to need to eat. But I'm predicting terrible things within a few months. I think these are the best times of our lives right now. I think that we're going to go into a territory that is unknown for modern man. We'll say that. You know, and it's gonna be a ride, that's for sure. So that's what I feel in my bones. I feel like this tidal wave coming, man, and there ain't nobody that can do anything about it because the energy's already there. You know, it's kind of like a freight train, and if you're on the tracks, you're gonna get hit, and you're not gonna be able to stop it. The only thing you do is get the hell out of the way, and I think that getting out of the way means leaving those cities, getting out of those areas. Not relying on other sources to support you and supply you, being able, like I said, that family that has farms and all that, they got their own food, they grow stuff and potatoes, and when you put it away, they know other farmers where they can trade. That's the way it used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
And
barter and trade
look
system.
at Pennsylvania. I mean, 90% of it's agricultural. You only have a couple of cities, and the rest of it is Pennsylvania, rolling hills and farms, and it's really nice. I had the choice yesterday when I got some food, my little Instacart. They asked me, I wanted peaches. They asked me if I wanted California peaches or Southern peaches. I was like, Southern, of course. It wasn't even a thing. 'Cause like everything California now to me is either radioactive or bad. They found radioactive isotopes in the grapes for the wine in the vineyards out there, and they're trying to play it down. It was in these wine magazines that they're trying to play it down like, oh, but it doesn't matter. It won't affect you if you have this, but if it collects enough, it'll affect you. There's organs that will collect that radioactivity. It'll affect you. But scary when you think of the reality of it, and you think of how these money-making sources try to downplay it just to make the buck. That's why I don't buy Kellogg's anymore. Or any large manufacturer of food. I don't trust them. Do you?
Yeah, I haven't bought cereal in decades. But at the end of the show, you guys have to remind me to tell you my Georgia peach joke. I can't tell it on the air because it's long and it's filthy, but it's still like it.
We love long and filthy, man. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I can try to clean it up if you want, but it's pretty dirty.
Dirty works for us.
No, dirty. Don't get us in trouble. We already got our ass in trouble with YouTube again last week. It's
what happened with that?
You can't even mention the word COVID on this network anymore because YouTube has a heart attack. They I mean, no, they did. I mean, last time they just kicked us. They got us off because all we did was say you should go to the CDC site and read what it said, and we got in trouble for that. I'm like, come on. Prime Minister's grinding new video. Yeah. I've been reading all this different stuff on Trump and what each side is saying and blah blah this and blah blah that and blah blah this and now I'm hearing something about a fourth agenda challenge on this. If they can challenge him on, you should have talked to the president first. FBI is never supposed to raid they didn't even raid Nixon's home. I mean, come on, man. At some point, and then. More and more people are definitely agreeing this is politically motivated. They want somebody looking into the FBI and the way this is being handled. And the only way that's going to happen is if the Republicans don't win the midterm, they're done. They may never get back in office again. Well, maybe because Biden's an idiot, but Um, I'm seeing more and more stuff. People, oh, you're not going to win. I still think there's going to be a red wave in 2020. I mean, in November, because nothing in the country is going to really change.
Yeah,
When we
they're
get
even
there,
predicting
gas
Maryland's
is
gonna
still
be
going to be
inflation.
high. Yeah, gas. See, Republicans, I mean, Democrats are out there saying, "Oh, look how low gas is." Really? It's
Low?
3.50 here or
It's
3.25 here. Yeah,
$4.03
nobody's going to think this
down
is
from
low. And
4.30.
anybody I talk to about food is saying how ridiculous it is. All this is going to come back in the election. This is all stuff that hasn't
I just
changed.
paid for $4.92 a gallon for unleaded plus the other day.
Jesus.
And it was supposed to have come down, what, 15 cents, something like that.
Yeah.
It still costs an incredible amount of money to go anywhere if you have a vehicle like mine, anyway. But that's what they're trying to force people. Their new spending plan is going to punish people for people who buy an electric car this year are not going to get the tax break, which is funny as hell.
We may get a reprieve thanks to a judge. Biden's oil gas moratorium dealt potentially fatal blow by federal court, saying it is outside of his jurisdiction.
Yeah, because they're trying to cripple the country. They want people to be vulnerable. That's what they do. You control people through debt. You control people. That's the power. Make them vulnerable, and then you need them. That's what they do. The Democrats don't preach self-sufficiency. They preach power and control. Here's the
Let's
handout.
see. A federal district court blocked Biden's administration moratorium on federal oil, gas leasing and potential fatal blow policy. They've been in battle since early 2021. The U.S. District Court for the Western District of Louisiana Judge Terry Dautley issued a permanent injunction blocking the leasing moratorium in the ruling late Thursday evening. He just gave a Biden the.
Yeah.
So he's going to try to bring it back to D.C. But see, that's the problem. The way the courts are set up right now. Oh, well, we got three people. Yeah, well, the ninth district are all Democrats. Well, how does that work? That's not a fair court.
I want to hear more about the mafia family in Montaldo.
Oh, no, you don't. If you talk too much about it, Michael, it might come kill your ass, dude. Don't be talking about them people.
They bring me some good pizza.
You don't want to wake up with a horse head in your bed.
That's right. You don't. I mean, I grew up with
much
Uncle Carlos. I used to tell you about this all the time. I grew up with Uncle Carlos. Carlos Marcello was my uncle. Actually, was my godfather. So technically, both he was the godfather and literally my godfather. So, he's don't mess with the man. He might come back from the grave and kill your ass. Last I checked, he got a bunch of kids and grandkids. They might get you too. They ain't real big fans of New Yorkers, man, and they do have the biggest mob in the country still.
What kind of business were they in?
I used to always laugh when they used to talk about the New York or Chicago mafias. I'm thinking the two combined isn't the size of the Carlos Mafia. I'm like, well, what are y'all, stupid? And that's the one that put it on Cuba. That's the one that probably took out the president. So it's just kind of funny. But anyway, back to the real news. It's look at all these Yankees killing people, man. Come on, y'all need to get a grip. I mean, almost every article I'm on CNN. Almost every article is some Yankee killing some other Yankee. I'm like, look, I'm not hating now, people. You don't want to kill each other off. That's fine, but I mean, Lord,
there are people getting killed because they served them cold French fries. There's people getting killed because they're waiting for the bus, or they're on the bus or on a train and pushed in front of a train or hitting the head with this and that. I mean, like, people are unhinged to the point where, you know what? I live in the middle of nowhere by a little town in the middle of nowhere.
What prime minister is this? Wait a minute.
There was a fight between 40 people not 2.5 miles from where I am. And it was out of control. And the police went and arrested everybody and whatever. But that's the kind of crap. And these are all rednecks. You know what I mean? Hayseeds, we call them. Woodchucks.
Oh, I can't do it from this computer. What a bitch, man. It won't let me share from here. Anyway, so the Finnish PM, Prime Minister from Finn.
Are we back?
Marin Sanada says she took drugs. She took a drug test, and a new video of her dancing with a man, not her husband, surfaces. So she was twerking. She was out twerking, and someone said she was on crack, so she got drug tested to prove that she wasn't. Oh, wait a minute. I got to find the video of the Prime Minister finished twerking, man. Come on. What the hell? So we got Canada up there naked in the flag, the PM. What the hell kind of candidates are we getting in office anymore? Jesus.
That's what I said. Worldwide, who's a leader? Who's a solid
Nobody's a leader apparently. We got a bunch of morons running around.
Especially
Come on,
they're
where's this
dancing,
video at? I wanna
twerking
see this
naked,
video.
and
Anybody
I
listening to
really
us
hate
tonight
to
that may have
say
a
this,
copy of this video, send it to him.
but you put a Trump in there, and he knows what to do. He is not told what to do. He knows what to do. He doesn't have committees telling him what to do. He knows what to do, and he's a strong person. And this is the same guy who told Xi Jinping we bombed Syria when they're having chocolate cake and ask him afterwards how the cake is. That's the guy. That's the crazy you need. But he. The reason why they hate him, even a lot of Republicans, is because he's not the establishment. He's
he
anti-establishment.
can't be controlled by them. That's why they hate him.
So they're going to do anything they can to keep him out. You know what's chilling? One of my friends posted this Simpsons thing about Trump in the coffin, like you know what I mean, like an episode, I guess, where he got killed, and that the Simpsons, they're always right about stuff. I'm scared for Trump. I think that they've driven so much hate and angst towards him that if he announces he's going to run, and he has to run because this is his fight. This is what he does. What else does he have? I mean, and negotiation. He's a master negotiator. That's the job for him. As president.
You know what he ought to do? You know what he ought to really do? He should just stop, surprise everybody, put his daughter up for president, and put all his money behind her.
In January of 2000, right before all this COVID stuff happened. I mean, 2020, I should say. January 2020, 93% of Americans said that they loved everything that they've got. They wouldn't change a thing. They were happy in their country. 93%. Can you? What's the percentage now?
Probably like 3.
11? Right, and these are people who are unrealistic. That don't have the same woes of other people in the world. Other people in our country trying to survive every day. We're all basically on a fixed income. I mean, you hear that a lot from elderly people on Social Security. Listen, whatever money you make is what you make. If you get an additional job or something, that's fine, but you get paid what you get paid. When the prices fluctuate, you pay for that. And then you still have to get to work. You still have to support yourself. You still have to buy clothes and do other stuff. These politicians, they don't think about daily expenses. They just think about their own thing. How they can stuff money in their pockets. So we're run by thieves and liars, and the culture of corruption is a whopper. We need to solve all that. The only way you can do that is through a revolution of sorts. But people aren't going to get woke because most of them are too stupid to realize what they're going through. They're sheep.
Well, I mean, one way to stop some of that corruption is because you got big pharma and big corporations giving gobs and gobs of money to the candidate they want to win the presidency or whatever, the governorship of a state, what have you. It should be against the law, number one, for that to happen. Number two, anyone who's monetarily, financially stable enough to fund their own campaign should not be allowed to ask people like you and me who don't make but $16 an hour to give them money. If a guy like Trump, who's got so much money behind him, he should not be allowed to ask for donations to run for president. He should fit the bill himself. He's got billions of dollars.
Well, remember, his first campaign, he did foot the bill. That was one of his running points. He was paying for his election.
He didn't take a salary.
He still got donations sent to him.
Yeah, but a lot of it he didn't take. He talked about that. He gave a lot of that money back. A lot of that money went to other places. It didn't go to.
He didn't take a salary either. He donated.
And remember this: Trump won with the least amount of money of anybody. Obama's both campaigns were $1 billion each. Hillary
Trump has momentum. Hillary
had 647 million. Trump only spent $300 million on his election. That was it. That's the lowest of any president since Reagan.
I don't see Biden physically making it.
Biden's fine, man. I don't know why you think Biden's going to die. He ain't going. Have you ever heard the term "only the good die young"?
Yeah, and he's evil. So
Biden ain't going nowhere, man. The only way he's getting out is if we vote him.
The DNC want the Republicans to win so they can raise money, so they can vilify again and pull their game. But they've made things very heavy for people, and the mental midgets out there are exploding. They can't handle it, and they're going out there and they're hurting each other and hurting other people. Then in the cities, you have an element of I can do whatever I want to do, because of the color of my skin. That's kind of what's going on, and they're being let go because of the color of their skin. They're not helping anybody. And these are criminals, black or white or what? They're criminals. You know, they're
Yeah,
not
I think
people who
I
are going to
think the
get help.
Democrats have run into something they didn't expect, though, and it's hurting them way more than they actually thought it was going to hurt. And I bet you'll never guess what it is. It's Elon Musk.
Ooh.
Elon Musk came out yesterday. He said he's going to spend between 25 and 100 million dollars on the next presidential election. He
Hmm.
said that Democrats are basically crap now. He said the same thing that Bill Maher said, and that other big Democrat came out and said this isn't the party that I grew up with. And they've turned, and these are all three of these people are all big money people for the Democrats. They're not going to get any of their money this year. I can't remember the other guy's name. He was real big too. He's another big one. Oh, Jeff Bezos came out against him. He said he's not going to vote Democrat in the next election. So now these guys are going to be pushing for whatever candidates running for the Republicans in the next election. They're going to put their money
Yo,
behind whoever it
if
is.
Trump is the person that I think he is, and I think he's exactly the person that he is, he will do this to freaking stick it right up their asses. He will do it to make their lives a living hell. The people that hate him when their veins pop out, I mean, he gets off on that. I'll tell you, I understand that type of thing. I had a cat that was like that, and she used to torture mice. One night she caught a mouse and she was like torturing that thing, kept putting her claw in its head and whatever. You think, they would just kill it. No, man, they love the game. They want to be part of that. And they want to, you know what? When Trump won, and all those people, their faces, the ones who supported Hillary, they were crying and flipping out. I was laughing my ass off. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Hillary had to cancel her fireworks show along the Hudson River and all that, and she was flipping out. It was fun, and that's what we need. Fun. We don't need all this dogmatic stuff. But nonetheless, no matter what you say about Trump and what kind of pig he is, things ran well in his administration. The only thing that didn't run well were the constant attacks from the Democrats, making it so he couldn't do his job. They really tried getting in the way of him doing his job, and then all these things, dragging him into court and doing all these alleged things, coming up with fake dossiers. They ran the gamut of trying to drag him out into the sunshine and stake him down, only because they didn't want to give up their power. It's power, and even if it's a Republican establishment in there, the Democrat establishment is much happier about that because it's still establishment politics, not what Trump represents. I think a lot of people are tired of this, and it's going to be a revenge vote against the Democrats and also a supportive vote for Trump if he decides. I think he's definitely going to run. I don't think he's got anything else to that if he doesn't, I mean, that's not what's he going to do? Just be the guy behind the scenes, be the kingmaker? He's not like that. He wants to get down to the trenches. He's a guy who puts ketchup on a steak. He wants to get down to the trenches, man. He wants to be down there. It's funny when he used to get together with his construction workers, all these blue collar guys, and hang out with them and kind of like put himself on the same level, them turn on the dirty jokes and all the other stuff. I really think that there's an element of him that understands that about people. I think he loves his country. You can't say that about these other people. You can't say that about Biden. You can't say that to them. It's a dodge. It's a thing that it's a carnival that they're running, right? Get as much money from you as possible. So, and Trump's a billionaire. He's not in it for the money. He's in it for the fight. Shit, we need that with world politics. Even 4 years of him, things will be straightened out.
I don't even think he's just in it just to fight. I think he's in it just to make the country better, like economically, strategically, you name it. He doesn't care about politics. He cares about people being able to buy stuff because ultimately he is a businessman. What does a businessman do?
Yeah,
they sell stuff.
That's what we need. We need a businessman. We need the Montaldo crime family.
No, we don't. I'm telling you, Mike, they're going to take you out, buddy. There's some Montaldos up there. The Montaldo Fur Company's up there by you, bud. Don't make them take you out. These people don't take jokes kindly, man.
Those guys built America, the mafia.
These are worse than mafia. Let's see. CNN boss Chris
That's
Leach warns anxious staffers.
That's why you're always bragging about your big shrimp.
I have a big shrimp. We can't talk about that down here. That's illegal. I'm just saying, man. It's one of them things. Anyway, CNN boss Chris Leach warns anxious staffers over more changes after axing of reliable sources and the exit of Brian Stetler. So they're going to fire a bunch more people. and just hire some more stupid liberals that don't know what they're talking about,
The
or they'll
mafia
hire
should
some
come
stupid
get me.
conservatives that don't know
I
what they're talking
challenge the
about.
mafia to come get me. My name is Hunter Biden. Come get me.
Hunter Biden works for them. What are you talking about, man? Hunter's one on
Hunter
the
Biden is the
payroll.
mafia. You know what?
That's what I'm
Those
saying.
guys,
He's on the
they have a
payroll,
crime.
man.
You don't think it's the Biden crime family or the Clinton crime family? I mean, that's what they are. That's what they do. They're organized crime. They get a permit for it. They get a permit to steal, a license to steal. You know, I mean, there's stuff going on that shouldn't be going on at all. It's politics, man. Oh, they dumb it down. Pay to play. Pay to play. How about bribery? Felony bribery. Oh no, it's pay to play. They try to dumb it down like it's a little kid thing. Oh, it's pay to play. No, it's bribery, and you're using your position to amass a fortune. It's illegal.
Oh, so wait. I forgot to tell
Not
you about
anymore.
this. So one of Trump's lawyers came out and said they know some of the documents that were retrieved are classified above the DOJ or the FBI's classification. So the lawyer wants to know who's got them and who's looking at them because they are above their pay grade. See, people are like, he's a DOJ. Well, no, the DOJ don't get to see classified military documents. It's outside of his realm. It's not in his job. So if they did look at him, they're in violation of several things themselves. This going to be one of these things that's going to turn into something nasty, I can tell, because if they went in and were taking classified materials, especially dealing with other countries and stuff like that,
But
that's
what
not
is
the
it?
FBI's purview. They're not allowed to that. That's
I'll ask you this,
NSA,
man.
actually.
Both you guys. I go on Twitter once in a while just to be a twat and attack people like everybody else, you know. Except I do it with flair and debonair. What is it with what's that his name? Meathead from All the Family, right?
Rob Reiner.
What's his name? Rob Reiner. That dude and Stephen King, they're out there in glee that Trump he's going to go to jail, and they're telling him that he should be executed. Then you get Mike Hayden, who was the head of the CIA. He was also the head of the NSA at one time, saying that, yeah, you know, he should be and all this. What is it about these people? Their vehement hate for this dude Trump. I mean, I know he is what he is. I feel like I could hang out with a Trump and have a drink and chill out and have a laugh. You know, I know he doesn't drink alcohol, but whatever. I think that he's somebody I could talk to and have a conversation where I wouldn't come away with a negative feeling. I can't say that about a lot of other of these politicians, especially the ones I've met already. You know, so I think he does have regular guy syndrome about him. You know what I mean? But there's a hate that is insurmountable that comes from people, especially Rob Reiner, people like that. People, I have Hollywood friends who just go off the hook on put him in jail, arrest him. You know,
because
they're not saying anything about what's going on now. Our country's in turmoil. They say nothing about that.
Right, and this is the only reason why they do this is because it's the only way they can get more favor for the guy they want to put in, who's going to probably be Biden if they want to back him. They can't attack Trump in any other way, so they have to bring up these, pardon the phrase, trumped up charges.
Remember how they went after his sons, you know, for doing business, and they're not drug addicts, they're not with strippers, they're not cheating on their wives, they're not doing all this other stuff. You know, that's what we got in there now, and they say nothing about that. So I think the proof is in the pudding, and people have seen already what the media, all this does. The lines are drawn. I don't think there's many left people to bargain for. And if Trump runs, most likely he'll win by a landslide. How's Biden going to campaign? He's not going to.
Well, they were talking about his odds the other day, and yeah, I love this. So NSNBC's got a picture of him and Epstein. So this is the night, by the way, in case y'all didn't notice, ladies and gentlemen, you can't see this picture, but this is a young picture of Donald Trump way back when he's probably looks like he's like in his 30s or 40s, and he's hanging out with Epstein. Well, this was the night he got banned from Mar-a-Lago. From two of the hotels. Trump said he was no longer allowed in the hotels. I guess this is when Trump found out about him and the kiddies, because there are no more pictures of them two together after this.
No,
but there are lots of pictures of Biden and Clinton and several other
Epstein
big Democrats.
Was hitting on some 17-year-old girl that was working there, telling her all kinds of stuff, and she could, you know, do this, come with him on his plane. Trump got really incensed and kicked him out and banned him from Mar-a-Lago, and he didn't want him around.
Yeah, because I've never seen Trump. I mean, even his wives were not children or young girls. You know, he was Look at him with his KFC on Air Force One. He's a madman. Jesus, man. He is the only president in history of the United States that ate KFC on Air Force One. Oh my God, I don't even know what to think about that. I really don't. It's just
Well, the more that the Democrats call people stupid, the more they attack, people's heart and intellect on the things they want for themselves. The more they're going to lose. So
well, they are, and I still don't think the Democrats have that big of a chance. And
New York is turning, man.
New York is turning.
Was solid blue. Now there's a lot of areas upstate.
Yep,
You have a
it's
lot
turning.
of straight up red
That's
areas.
because me and Martha came up and paid a visit.
Yeah. Well, they're also saying
and we
that
discussed
Maryland,
New
the
York.
traditionally blue state's going to turn.
Oh, damn, you made her get crazy there, man. Calm down now. Calm down. She got a little wild. You see it, you jaw jumpy, man, with that 34-round clip in there. She'd be like,
You're going to shoot yourself one of these shows, man.
nah, dude. You forget I Special Forces trained. I ain't shooting nothing but the person I
Yeah,
want
they
to
shoot
shoot.
themselves all the time by accident. Come on.
No,
man.
Special Forces don't shoot themselves. It's it's not even that. It wouldn't have mattered even if I wouldn't have had special training. No. It wouldn't even matter if I didn't have special training. In the South, everybody grows up with
Yeah,
guns.
45?
You're part of the
No, this one's actually a 9.
family,
The 45 is in the other room. I got a Colt 45. This is a Turkish-made Canik.
Don't mess with the Montaldo family.
That's
We
right.
got
There's nothing
guns.
messing with us. I would have put the fishy up your ass, all buddy. So don't mess
I
with
got the biggest shrimp you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's
Bigger than
right.
lobsters.
And you don't want that shrimp going places it shouldn't be either. So let's not even worry about that. Wait. What time is it? Okay,
Taping
wait.
up the
Yeah, we'll
shrimp.
squeeze in. Hold on. We'll squeeze in a couple more quick ones. I know it's getting close to the top. So let me bring up the other feed. I didn't have it. I've had it closed. I was reading something about Jared in McDonald's. Obviously, these kids all grew up on McDonald's and shit. It amazes me you're a billionaire. You're feeding your kid McDonald's. It's hard. Okay, DeSantis takes crusade against woke ideology in Pennsylvania, Ohio. So crusade, DeSantis is going after. He already passed rules in his state and bills in his state that wokeness isn't something that you can go around trying to enforce on people. He's going to other states and also campaign to get it done. He's attacking wokeness. Man, I want to give him a high five for that. I go back and forth on DeSantis because it's either going to be him or Trump. I just don't think the Democrats got anybody who can win unless some major changes in the country.
Or
I just
him
don't
and
think
Trump.
the Democrats. It might be him and Trump. And if it's him and Trump, it will be a major landslide. I mean, DeSantis is loved all over the place.
I'll tell you, DeSantis, if people didn't know about him before, they know about him now, and he's held true to his state.
And
He's
again,
been loyal
this
to the
this
people
is
who
also
elected him.
again the same thing that got Trump elected is what's helping DeSantis out. So much free advertisement from CNN, ABC, and CBS hating on him. When you hate on somebody nonstop, people want to see him. When they go look him up a lot of times, there's not as much you want to hate on. And people forget this. Trump has 100 million followers. Biden don't. Biden, however, he won. I mean, Trump had 82 million. Biden had 85. But when they polled the other day, they're showing over 100 million strong followers for Trump and not for Biden. So,
A lot of Biden's are robots anyway. They're not real.
well, Biden only won because he wasn't Trump. Let's just be honest about it. There was so much media damage.
That's the one they had to put him in there. And now he's backfiring on them.
So yes, it's been a nightmare. But Biden gets up. I love another day. Oh, this is our best economy ever. There ain't been no economy this good since Clinton, man. I'm thinking, dude, you're on crack. I mean, serious. You smoking something you need to share with the rest of the country. DC does have.
Person thinks
but let's be honest. DC does have the 32 THC there, so he might be smoking something like we know Obama did.
35.
So we know Obama. Yeah, in Cali, I think the highest is 30. It might be 35. It's but Obama got busted a couple times. That little guy used to bring weed to it.
Man.
I loved it when they traced it. I loved it when they traced that guy back from the pot place. So Obama then said it was a guy from one of the sandwich stores would bring us this particular sandwich every so often, which he did bring the sandwich, by the way. But he worked at the local dispensary. He was Obama's pot dude. And they would let this guy come in, and many times reporters got him going into the White House on his little bike ride. And if they knew who he was, I mean, this guy, but pot was legal in D.C. What are you going to say? You can't tell the president can't smoke if it's legal. I mean, shit. What are you going to say?
I hear that you can buy crack in the White House now, man.
But I heard
little
that
window in the front, you can kind of put your money.
I heard that Michael, the other Michael, didn't like it. She did not like him. She said it was a bad influence on the children. She wanted to give up smoking, all smoking. And I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but It's
Don't
about the only
take
thing I really like
I don't
ultimatums.
about
think you
Obama.
quit cigarettes.
You
That's
know
for
what?
sure.
That leads to misery. You don't
Yeah.
take ultimatums. Zero.
You know, I really wasn't an Obama hater like most people was. I just thought he got into a position he wasn't ready for yet.
I remember some shows we did. You hated him pretty good.
Yeah, because by then he was doing some pretty stupid shit. But when you hate, see, it's not so much you hating on the man as you hating on the policy, because he just done some. I mean, we spent 4 years talking about bathrooms. Why do you think Trump got elected? I mean, bathrooms. We were arguing about what bathroom. Oh well,
Bathrooms for
if
people that had a sexual identity crisis.
yes, so what
So-
happened is his dads all of a
Yeah.
sudden didn't want the transvestites going in the bathroom with their daughters. That just flipped them out. They didn't have a problem with them going in with their sons, but they had a problem with them going in with their daughters, which I can understand that kind of. And then we had this thing about, we're going to let them all play in sports. Really? Okay, I want to go wrestle a girl. And well, first off, yeah, that sounds fun to start off with. And there's
like
no chance.
wrestling
You don't have a
girls. There's nothing
chance,
wrong with it.
man. Come on. Just in sheer weight and muscle, she never had a prayer. It's just, some things are just wrong. And 4 years of talking about bathrooms was ignorant. And the Democrats couldn't seem to grasp that the whole country was tired of it.
I like
Our
wrestling
economy
girls
sucked. The world sucked.
to rap music and Jello. You got to put Jello. You need like one of those plastic bathtub type things.
So the world, whatever they call themselves, said that the start of the decay of America happened under Obama's watch.
Oh, yeah.
And
I would agree with that.
They said it got worse. It got worse. They said they almost tried to give Bush a little bit credit for it, but for some reason they just didn't go there.
George
But they
Soros.
So they gave it to Obama, and
Soros.
they said that Trump tried to turn some of it around, but he really didn't help matters, and because he was a polarizing effect too.
Yeah,
And then here comes Biden, and he's another polarizing effect. We need a candidate that doesn't polarize both sides, and the last two candidates that did that were Reagan and Clinton. Other than that, we haven't had anybody who could do that. Bush did a little bit, but Bush only had it because of the war.
As polarizing as Trump, but I think Trump is what we need for the next 4 years. I don't know who else is going to get out of this mess.
You know what? And you know what's funny?
He's not going to be able. He's not going to fail.
Well, you know what's funny is that that Lazinski, Karkov, whatever his name is, he's one of the retired 4-star generals in Russia. He said if Trump gets in, Putin will pull out.
I would agree.
He said Putin will pull out. He said he'll get out. He said if Biden stays, he'll just expand the war. He said,
I don't know if he'd pull out on his own, but I think if Trump threatens him, he'll pull his troops out.
There was something. Trump told him something one time. You know what it was, and this is really what it was. So Trump invited Xi Jinping to dinner. Okay, while Xi Jinping was at dinner, we popped up a nuclear submarine off the coast of what was it, Libya, and launched 85 missiles in a matter of 2 minutes at a target just to prove to Russia and China, if we want to take you out, we'll take you out while we're having dinner with you.
And finish the cake.
But it was worse than that, because while he did that, 3 nuclear armed submarines popped up around China in 3 different locations. Now, Ronald Reagan was the first president to do that. He actually had 4 of them, 2 pop up at each coast to prove a point to Russia. If we wanted to take you out, you'd be dead. And he said he did it to Russia and China, and Trump did it to China. And China basically showed them, you're having dinner with me right now at my place, and I'm wiping out Libya, and I've got 3 nuclear subs parked off your coast. What are you going to do? You're dead. You don't have a chance. You're not. We nuked your country. You never get out of our country alive.
Even Kim Jong-un said not a word the whole time. They thought he was dead. They didn't know where he was.
I know, man. They let his sister start talking for him, man. They were like,
he said nothing the whole time.
That's really the difference between Trump and everybody else. He pissed off the world, but they bowed down to him. He changed the world. He proved, and he said everything that's going on in Europe. He predicted the Russia war. He said it was going to happen if he left. He told Angela Merkel on several occasions, along with the EU, don't rely on Russia and China, because they're going to get you in because you're relying on their products, and there are our enemies, not our friends. Well, of course, Russia and China did just what he said they were going to do. So, and even Angela Merkel came out and said that she had to say that she misread Trump. He was more of a leader than she thought he was. So that was a kickback because she hated him. Mm-hmm. But she proved, when all this stuff happened, it proved that he was right and she was wrong. And I got to give her credit for being big enough woman to step up and say she was wrong. I mean, that
all he has to do is run and say, I told you.
I ain't voting for him.
And he doesn't even have to say it like that.
For him.
What's that?
I can't vote for the guy. It ain't gonna happen.
So you'll vote for Biden?
No, I ain't voting for Biden either. I just told somebody today I voted for every presidential election but the last 2, and I I couldn't vote for
Never know what
Biden
you're
or
gonna
Trump, and
do
I
until you
couldn't.
get in that booth. Sometimes, man. I've had good days and bad
I have a
days.
conscience, man. I have a conscience,
Sometimes I
unfortunately, for
go in
me.
there for revenge. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I always
but I know
preach
it
you should
means
always vote
nothing.
your conscience, and unfortunately, I have one of those, so I don't know if I can.
My
We'll
conscience
see.
is also part of my ego, unfortunately.
Trump, make a
They
donation to
share the same
United
bunk
Public
beds.
Radio, and we'll help you out, buddy. I'm just saying. $500,000, $1 million donation will do real well.
Elon Musk should incorporate himself and involve himself in UPRN. He should give us at least just a drab of money, 100 million, just 100 million to keep operations going. Middle of the road,
Yeah, what's he
man.
worth now?
No,
260
no
billion. Last I
advertising.
heard.
Middle of the road. We're not sucking anybody's dog. That's it.
He's up there by himself now. He's the only one over 200 billion. He's at 266 billion. Last I heard.
Wow.
And they're expecting him to be the first trillionaire.
He should invest in his own UPRN. He can come on here all the
He
time.
could give every citizen in the country $1 million and not really hurt himself at all.
Well, but see, Jeff Bezos would be the winner, but he got divorced, so his wife got half. So he'd be worth about 350 billion now, but his wife got half, so he's not. And it'll take him forever to make that back up now. So shit happens, You screwed a poochie, and wifey says, you know what? I've been with you since day one, and there is no agreement. So guess what? I want my half. You're just gonna have to give up your half. That's just the way that works. And I imagine it's a really good lawyers because there was a lot of money there to be talked. I think it was 125 billion she got. It was an ungodly amount of money.
And by the way, to Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, I'm single, and I'm very loyal. I'm not. You know what? I'm not Jeff Bezos. How's that?
Well, I'm not single, so there wouldn't be any catches. But my wife don't mind sharing, for that
My
kind
rocket
of money.
goes into space too, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Our shrimps are always ready, my friend. So.
And you got the biggest shrimp. Everybody says.
Who just sent me that? Y'all some retards watching this show tonight. I know we got to go here in a couple of minutes. We already ran over, but y'all are just some crazy people. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. We had a lot of fun tonight. If you send it to me, I can squeeze in one more article. What you sending me? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, that is true. So, okay, how can I say this? So, Russia has been having espionage problems. They're having people blowing up their shit. So one of their big military, one of their big Navy bases that they had all kind of explosions on it. And it wasn't an attack from the Ukraine. It was espionage. They were their own people. And then somewhere in Russia the other day on one of their bases, they had multiple big explosions, more espionage. So Russian citizens are turning on them. And since you can't really tell the difference between a Russian and Ukrainian anyway, it's got to be a bitch to start off with. But the Ukraine has been making advances.
And they say that people don't know about it. It's not in the news. It's totally suppressed. That if they know about it, they're looking for info. And the ones that do know about it just think that it's Ukrainians messing around, and Russia's there. They don't know about the losses. They're tapping into their old Soviet tanks, and they're sending old Soviet tanks that they're running out of materials and stuff. You know what I mean? So good time to be an arms dealer, Mr. Montaldo. Maybe we should make some connections. We already offered to be generals. That lady was funny that wrote me a nasty email. You're horrible. I didn't say we are going to be generals. We offered. They're not going to make us generals. You know what I mean? Us? How dare you?
They've got all kind of people defecting out of Russia, man.
I would end the war in 7 days. 7 days. If in 7 days the war's not over, they have to pay me a dime. Nothing.
I'll end it in 5. Jay, you want to get in this bid, man? You want to go for 4?
Let's do it.
Jay can do it too, man.
Jay 2, Joe 5. I was saying within 7.
Yeah, man. People,
we're basically playing Name That War.
So, the United States made a major mistake at the end of World War II when we didn't take Russia out.
Lots of them.
If we took Russia out, we would have went ahead and took China. And this would be just a big one world planet. Now we'd all be happy. We wouldn't be spending trillions of dollars on the military. That would be going towards health and wealth. And there wouldn't be nuclear weapons all over the planet because there wouldn't be nobody to kill because we'd all be one big happy family. Maybe not happy family, but we'd be one big family. And we'd be teaching religious tolerance and things like that. We'd be a better world for it. But no, the government said, no, we don't want to do that. That's bad, bad, bad. And now what do we got? We got Russia on a rampage, China booming all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It was stupidity and power. We had a chance. At the end of World War II, we had control of 2/3 of the planet. It was only 1/3 to go, and we could have easily took it, but we decided not to. Our allies
Because
would
of
have been more than
Japanese
tough.
imperialism, they wiped out the government in China, and then when they left, the communists were the only ones left, and then they took over. But
Yeah.
we should have went in there and made sure that the communists didn't take over.
Yeah, we had again, we had bad liberal leaders back then. So what can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say? The conservatives were the generals. The president was a liberal. Just one of them things. But no, it was a big mistake on our part because today it would have saved lots of lives. It would have been no Vietnam. There would have been
Woulda,
no
shoulda,
Korea.
coulda.
There'd
They should
been
have
no
never given
Desert
Hong Kong
Storm.
back to China. They should have
Oh,
given
that
Hong
was such a
Kong.
fatal. That was
Would
so
other
stupid.
countries like India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons if it had gone that way?
No, there wouldn't be no
Think about
reason
that. How
because
do these third world countries like India and Pakistan, where did they develop nuclear weapons from? We know Russia got them because they were stealing.
Us.
They stole the same
We
German scientists
sell
that
them.
we got.
We sold Pakistan their nuclear warheads. India too.
I don't think that's true. I think they make their own. to be
Yeah.
they
honest.
do. They make
No,
their, they don't have a lot.
We sold it. They don't have facilities to make it. We sold it to them. We armed them.
That's just
It's
insane.
either, we're the ones who gave Israel their first reactors. We're the ones who France also. France is out there supplying reactors and doing these things and also weapons. I mean, it's a big business. Weapons is always a big business. They try to downplay it, but damn, they
No,
really
but China
can't.
and Pakistan, they legitimately did their own systems. They built their own nukes.
We left $39 billion of equipment in Afghanistan.
89 billion, not 39,
Man,
89.
I'm talking about just equipment, missiles, trucks, and that type of stuff, not including even cash and things like that. It was just insanity. It's insanity to walk away from all that.
All right,
Then you supply the people
because
that
I
are
love
terrible.
y'all, I'm going to give y'all the nuclear breakdown of the planet. The number one nuke holder, of course, is Russia with 5,977 nukes, followed closely by the United States with 5,428 nukes. The next biggest nuke on the next person who has the most nukes is China with 350 nukes, followed by France with 290 nukes, followed by the UK Kingdom with 225 nukes, followed by Pakistan with 165, and India with 160. Israel has 90 nukes, and North Korea has 20, for a grand total of like 12,000 nuclear weapons on the
And
planet.
that's just the ones we know about. We don't know. There's other. I'm sure there's other.
Well, believe it or not,
weapons
it
hidden
is
that we don't know
really
about.
hard to hide enriched plutonium. I didn't realize how easy it is, even shielded, to pick up with satellites. It is really hard to hide it. You can't move it around. If you try moving around, it instantly shows up. It's and the United States was smart because we developed these systems because we have radiation things all around our country. People don't realize it, but every hospital in the United States has radiation equipment and waste. And we have other facilities around the country that do stuff as well. So we just started dividing these things so we could follow radiation around our country in case someone ever got hold to a dirty bomb or snuck something in our country. We wanted to be able to track it. So we've actually started using that system around the world now, and it works quite well. It's not 100% accurate, mind you. It's probably about 88%, but still, it makes it a lot harder because that's how we found out about some nukes that Russia had. They were moving them from facility to facility, and our tracking devices picked them up. Our radar picked them up, and our satellites picked it up. And because we're
also
allowed
very
to fly over
expensive.
Russia.
It's very
It is.
expensive to maintain those missiles every
It
day
is.
and keep them ready to fly. $1 million a day plus here in the United States.
Russia hasn't had a
per
successful.
missile.
They had one successful launch in their last 15 attempts. They had one successful launch. So if that's their ratio, their 6,000 nukes drops down to about 400 or 500, which we can shoot down 400 or 500 nukes, believe it or not. There's a lot of stuff we can shoot down, and if
just put lasers on F-16s and all that.
and if
Or
Obama
F-35.
if Obama wouldn't have
F-35.
knocked out the missiles defense seal, right now we would have a 3-tiered defense seal over our country that would be virtually impenetrable. But for some reason, Obama wanted us to leave us vulnerable. So Reagan, Clinton, and Bush, they worked the system. So what it was is we developed a 6-tier missile defense seal. So what it was is, so you had you had three types of missiles. Some of them would shoot up and hit the target directly. Some would do like a scattering of debris and hit the target.
The shotgun effect.
And some were mini nukes for multiple warhead nukes. That way it could take out the multiple warheads. So we developed those. Then we decided that wasn't enough. So we developed a 3-tier laser defense shield. So one of them is a ground-based laser that can catch things coming in. Another one is a space-based laser. But the one that's most important is an air-based laser. It's on top of a 727.
On the front nose, yeah.
So, well, there's two of them. There's one in front nose and there's one in back. So this thing can fly a figure 8 around our country and shoot down 3,000 missiles every 10 minutes. So unless it runs out of power, it makes it almost impossible. So we were going to put that over the United States and put one over Europe and put one over somewhere else, which makes it impossible for Russia to launch a missile. We could shoot them down before they got into space if we had them over there. So I don't know why Obama, because the systems were already in operation, he decided not to deploy them. Nobody knows why.
Because he's probably working with the Russians.
So, well, actually, a lot of Democrats I hate to say it, but I think a lot of Democrats are working with the Chinese and the Russians. You got to wonder how Russia built a space shuttle that looked just like ours. I mean, it was like we gave them one. I mean, and then half of China's planes look like ours. They don't perform as well, but they look like ours. A lot, you can tell there's a lot of shit from our country has been being sold over there. No, I'm talking about what they're flying right now. They just look a lot.
Well, they steal planes.
Yeah, of course they do.
They steal our planes.
No, they don't steal them. They get sold to them. Different members of Congress or somebody probably sells them to them, or somebody working for Boeing
Eric
or Lockheed or
Swalwell.
something along those.
You don't know.
It's ridiculous.
Nancy Pelosi, she has ties.
And but Russia, well, she must not have ties with China because China is some pissed at Nancy. I mean, they are furious at Nancy.
Maybe it was an act. Maybe that they're going to act like that anyway. You know how it goes.
Yeah, well, that's true too. You can't ever rule it out. Carlin.
Pelosi has very close ties with China.
Well, Carlin, Russia actually has more powerful nukes than the United States, and supposedly has more warheads. But I can't verify this completely because I'd blow a security clearance. But I can tell you that the U.S. does have, especially in the Navy, multiple warhead nuclear weapons. I can't tell you how many warheads because I'd be in violation. But,
but also our systems are more accurate than theirs are.
They are, and they're more reliable. So they're more likely not to fail. So, but that's all I can tell you because anything into that would be a breach of security for me. But they are interesting. I can tell you that it only takes 30 minutes for a nuke to reach from Russia to New York City. But there's a lot of misunderstanding about nukes. So we'll go real quick before we leave. So 20 kiloton nuke hits New York. It's going to be a 4-mile blast radius. So everything in that 4 miles, except for the stuff directly under, it's going to be pretty much flattened. Then another 5 miles after that will be completely contaminated by radiation. But after that, it will depend on which way the wind's blowing. So so people think when you drop a nuke, there's a 100-mile wiped out. No. A really big nuke will get you 10 or 15 miles. I mean, a big nuke. Most nukes that's going to hit New York are going to be probably 25 kiloton or something. They're going to do 2 miles square and 10 miles and maybe 8 miles of contamination. And then it just depends which way the wind's blowing. Now, in all fairness, that radiation that just contaminated New York is going to be good for 100,000 years. So you'd actually have to go in there and physically clean it up. Now, what makes America scary is we have something called a neutron bomb, which everybody said didn't exist until the government actually admitted it existed. A neutron bomb, actually used it. So a neutron bomb does not have an explosive force. So if we dropped it over Beijing, it wouldn't flatten Beijing. It would just kill everybody, all the animals, all the plants, and any electronics that were on at the time would be wiped out. But what this allows us to do is after 2 years that it's gone, it's dissipated. It's only got a 2-year half-life. We can move in and take the city over.
You have a vacant city you can take over.
That's right. It's your city, and most of the wire and all that's still intact. So
you'd have to clean it up. There'd be bones.
There'll be problems in places and stuff.
Lots of zombies, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have a made city ready to go. You just clean
it out. You can ignite any nuclear warhead in the air as an air bomb, and it'll wipe out all the electronics in that theater, plus release all the radiation. And the kill rate is around 97%. So
you get an EMP. So it just depends. It's all about kilotons.
Not the same as the impact on the ground. More devastating than that.
Well, none of them actually. I think the lowest impact you're going to get is 500 feet because they're all airbursts. They're all
Yeah.
designed.
All nukes are airburst.
Yeah, all airbursts, but some of them are different altitudes than other ones. And of course, the lower the
Putin came
altitude,
out
the
a
more
couple weeks
damage.
ago saying nobody can win a nuclear war. Putin said
Well, that's not
so.
True.
Obviously,
Somebody can win a
he was
nuclear war
thinking
if
about
it's
it.
done right. If the U.S. did it right, we could easily win a nuclear war. But we're not. We don't. We don't have the
If they hit
kahunas
New
to go
York
do it.
and D.C., it would shut the country down and cause enough confusion. People wouldn't know what the hell to do, what was going on, and power grids would
Well,
default and all
I
kinds of
agree.
stuff.
If
It'd be
Democrats were in
mayhem.
control, I think if Democrats in control, that was what would happen. But if
We're
Republicans in control,
vulnerable.
I don't think you'll see it go down that way. I think you'll see a whole different thing.
NORAD,
So,
you know what? That's where they control most of the nukes from. Is the top spot for target. So I mean,
things are a little bit different now than they used to be.
you don't want to
We
use them.
have
Put it that way. It's not something you
we
want
have
to use.
multiple aptitude things we can do with nukes now. We can be deployed in different ways, and technically, if they really wanted to, they could make our system completely remote. They just won't because they want that guy in there to flip those two guys in there to flip those switches. But
First
right
strike,
now, the
second
U.S.
strike,
says,
third strike,
yeah,
fourth strike.
well, that's not how it goes though, because if your first strike is right, there won't be a second strike.
It's
So you
automatic.
just
Once those launch those missiles, then the
no,
other
no, no. What
side
I mean is there
launches.
won't be a second strike because the bases will be wiped out. Even on the
You mean
ground,
you mean a surprise attack?
so the U.S. if the U.S. really wanted to do it, we would have to go into Europe and launch some low altitude EMP pulses across Russia to take out their electronics so they wouldn't know what was coming. And by the time they even got up and running, nukes would be raining on their heads. So
Doubtful
they would be
EMPs
gone.
would even
So
penetrate those deep bunkers. You know what I mean?
they don't have to. All they have to do is because the ground, everything's connected to above ground radar dishes. All they have to do is do the up down because the radar dishes will be down. Doesn't matter what kind of electronics they got below. It's not going to
If
do
the
them any
missiles
good.
are pre-programmed, they're not going to rely on any of that stuff.
Yeah,
They're going to go
but
where
no,
they go.
but even a missile launching through an EMP will go dead. It'll just fall out the sky.
You'd have to shut down GPS and all the other stuff.
The rockets will still work, but the electronics.
The rockets will, but the electronics will be fried.
Yeah, everything else will be
so
fried.
you're not going to have. They're not going to detonate.
If the EMP gets to the rocket, but when there was deep bunkers, you really can't get there. They're in these deep.
Well, no,
bunkers,
but you're missing the point. The rocket has to pass through the EMP to get into the space. It's not because it's underground, so it has to pass through
the
EMP
will last long. I mean, it depends.
Man, you can have EMP last for days if you want, man.
you're looking at something that you're trying to sustain an electronic event, but it may or may not work. Then you have submarines. Then you get submarines. I mean,
they do have submarines, but we do track all
and then those are low level rockets. They also have ICBMs, but you can attack in the area within minutes.
No,
but
the Wolfpack knows where every
thing about
submarine Russian has.
Let me tell you about our submarines. Back in the 80s, my father was working on some top secret projects, now all of which are declassified. He worked on several systems to make our subs more quiet and to find other enemy subs with a thing called SIRTAS. We talked about this on the previous show. What he did was through TRW, his company, and Honeywell, developed several sonar systems that helped us find Russian subs while they're moving silent.
Yeah, because they have turbine subs.
Certain bushings that we would mount our engines on, because there are some gas engines on there when they're above water to charge up the batteries and stuff. Mount those that had the gas engines on these bushings, and then fill the cabins with these sound deadening acoustic tiles. And then TRW came up with the chip systems to make the engines work more efficiently. Now, what happened was there was a couple in Potomac near where we lived who stole some of those systems from TRW and Honeywell and sold them to the Russians. But what they didn't get was they didn't get the whole system. They didn't get the acoustic tiles. They didn't get the sonar systems that my dad was working on to make our subs more, to be able to see better underwater. What they got was the silent chips and bushings to mount the engines on. So what happened was Russian subs could go at full run silent at 2 knots underwater, while our submarines could run full speed, 36 knots underwater. We could still hear them. We could still see them. There was no chance they could ever sneak up on us, and they still to this date cannot sneak their subs close enough to us before we can knock them out of the water.
Yes, and
that's a given.
The U.S. cheated, by the way. People don't know this, but you used to have a bunch of underwater listening facilities. So they still exist, all these facilities, by the way. There's 66 of them. So they used to run them all over, and they were for listening to Russian subs. Well, when Russia developed the corkscrew instead of the props, they're much quieter, so and they sound more like a fist. So the U.S. had all these facilities tracking the sounds of whales because that's what they kind of sounded like a whale. So they started looking for anytime they would find a new sound because they would track all the whales and all the other fish sounds. When they'd find a new sound, they would label it. When they heard it again, they'd label it again. Then they realized that they actually had the sound that the Russian sub made. So then the U.S. decided, well, we know what they sound like. So the U.S. gave these facilities to this whale watching group that watches whales. Well, guess what? They still track subs for us. So it's almost impossible. Not just that, most people don't realize this, but all along the United coast, there's actually buoy sensors in the water that listen for submarines. So we're not and on top of that, we have low identifying radar now. We also have missile silos on buildings in New York and in D.C. So it's not like you can just launch a missile and we don't have a chance of shooting it down.
We also have satellites up top that track their metal boats by their magnetic signature. So they cannot hide from us.
It's a much different game than it used to be. And the U.S. when it comes to sub warfare, the U.S. is far more advanced than anybody else out there. The only ones that give us a chance is one of our European allies. But other than that, I mean, Russian subs are garbage. And then Russia did stupid things like sell advanced equipment to India. Well, India's a Commonwealth. It's part of the Commonwealth. They just told the Brits, and of course the Brits told us. I mean, that was just kind of dumb. And one of my two favorite things is China developed these high, I think they were $100 million a piece jets, these stealth jets, beautiful jets, by the way. But the engines, every time we took off, it blew this big black trail of smoke behind it. Not very stealthy. And they've kind of fixed it, but not completely. But I'll tell you what the big kicker was, not just for the Chinese and Russians and ourselves. Some two kids figured out how to track stealth planes on cell phones via cell phone towers. So if you've got cell phone towers all over the place, a stealth plane can't fly. If it's flying below 500 feet, the radars will pick them up. You'll pick it up on your cell phone. You'll actually get a particularly weird chatter sound that they make because of the way they absorb the radar. It was very interesting when they found the U.S. paid big money to know what it was. And as far as I know, they never released it to the general public, but it was badass. I mean, just two kids sitting there, and in England of all places, they were on the island in England, and I used to watch these stealth jets come in and out. They were actually X-117s.
So they're German.
They came in and they found them. No, they were just sitting out on the island, and most people don't even realize, but Brits were really the first ones with real radar. The United States had it, but we weren't really developing because we were on the other side of the ocean. We weren't worried about some little single engine Corsair flying across them. That wasn't going to happen. But you know what? The Japanese, on a couple of times, did get subs close to the inland. They were seen in Staten Island. They were seen a couple of places along the East Coast.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, and they were seen out in Los Angeles. And
there's a bunch of German U-boats sunk off very close off the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, there are a few sunk in the Gulf, yeah. It just shows you we were hunting these bitches down. So one of the things the Navy takes pride of is tracking everybody else's submarines. They want to know where they are because if we did to do a first strike, we'd need to know where them subs were because we'd have to take them out at the same time. You know, it'd be like, oh, we just took you in this. We're launching submarines. You think you got, oh, well, you don't have no submarines left. How you launching them? You better get some of your allies. Oh, Venezuela, that's right. They don't have no missiles. I forgot. Oh, Cuba don't have no missiles either. So, North Korea, no, that's one of the Chinese allies. They're not going to lie. And somebody asked me the other day, did I think China would get involved if the U.S. and Russia got into us? In the beginning, they would. They would think it was an opportunity. But shortly after that, when they realized they were cut off from the world with no fuel, no food, nothing else, things would start to change. China's got the same problem they've always had. Why Japan's conquered them twice. They can't feed themselves. They can't fuel themselves. They're just, there's 1.4 billion of them, and they'll start starving within just a couple of months, and it'll be just like it was with the Japanese. They'll start fighting against their own government. There'll be rebellion all over the place. China's just in a precarious situation, and the difference is Xi Jinping, because he spent a lot of time in the United States, understands that, whereas the rest of the Communist Party does not. Xi Jinping's like, no, because he said something the other day on the Chinese news. And he's like, no, invading Taiwan is not conducive for China. And it's not. And Europe will cut them off, and America. Think of it this way: they're a $12 trillion economy they're forecasted to have this year. $10 trillion of it comes from us and Europe. So if not, without us, they go back to being Russia with about a $2 trillion economy. And that means dick. And right now, between the U.S. and our allies, we control a world economy of $44 trillion. It's really hard to mess with us. You're going to lose no matter what. I mean, you can't financially, you just can't win. And you can try to level the playing field, but our countries are set up different than theirs are. Whereas COVID wreaked havoc on a good chunk of the world, the United States, it wreaked havoc, but not financially. Mentally, it did. Financially, we're still just chugging along like we always have been,
Well,
even with
from my
crazy
point of view, I think China was expecting it to be a lot worse and to collapse more economies. What it did in this country, and I'm not going to say the company name, but the one that I work for, the year before COVID, our company drew in $95 billion. It was the first for the company. The 2 years of COVID, we made $130 billion each year. It's $260 billion in a 2-year period. This last year, we drew in $150 billion. So it has we've doubled our income in 3 years to $150 billion of profit. Now, I didn't see any of that money, but
well, of course, you're not going to either.
no,
But
I
there's
never
a
will.
lot of, what's killing me is how many of these big companies said they're not making any money. I'm like Netflix the other day said we're not making any money. So when I got Netflix, it was $8.99. I didn't realize till the other day I'm paying $22 a month for Netflix. So I'm getting ready to drop them. I'm like, for what? Plus, Netflix don't want me sharing outside of my home. I said, well, wait a minute now. I have 2 properties. I said, why should I have to pay on 2 different properties? I said, I'm paying for Netflix wherever I'm at Netflix. I said, I can use it on my phone anywhere I go. Why can't I use it in whatever house I'm in? And the guy's like, oh, I don't know. I said, dude, I'm telling you now.
Well,
If I can't use Netflix at my other house, I'm going to sue you.
What it used to be, you could pay one fee, you'd have one device. Pay another fee, 2 or 3 devices. Another fee, 4 or 5.
And I do. I pay for their maximum, whatever it is.
Right.
And I think I can have up to 5 devices. So I'm like, well, wait a minute now. I'm going to have my devices. And HBO tried that shit, and then they said, no, don't worry about it. And I called them. I actually called their CR department. I was like, come on. I said, this is ridiculous. I said, this is going to start. I said, this is going to go viral like you do with Netflix. I used to use it. I don't use it right now. There are some stuff I used to watch. I liked Altered Carbon. I thought it was a good series. There's that series that they did with Mars that Elon Musk was in, like how things would go if you would go to Mars. I like that series. My wife has a couple of series on there. She liked, I think Game of Thrones was on there too. But there was some stuff in there. But right now, it got all woke, so I quit watching it. And then they kept trying to feed you with Angela Merkel and not Angela Merkel. What's her name? Harry's wife and Obama. And I'm like, they both sucked. And from what I can tell, I think they canned both families. But I mean, I haven't seen anything recently about either one of them. And
I got Harry a long time ago. I found that the content, they lost The Office, and I was into The Office for a while. I'm not now, but
Hulu I watch because I like what's that TV that sci-fi? It's a ripoff of Star Trek. Orville. And I like Orville. I like Seth Rich. He's a goofy bastard. And I noticed each season he's getting a little bit more serious.
Yeah, the third season was better than the first 2, hands down.
Well, I mean, he started out as a parody.
As a parody comedy, yeah.
And that's what he was doing, and it was stupidly funny. And then he went to season 2, it got a little better. Season 3, they upped their game. So I'm going to watch.
I pay for Amazon; they give you a lot of content, and I pay for Peacock, $4.99 a month. So under $5 a month, you get a whole bunch of movies and shows and whatever. So,
I got Peacock comes with my Amazon, and Disney comes with my Hulu. I get Disney, Hulu, and ESPN and I only pay like $8 a month for them. And then
think about it.
And then Amazon also hooked me up with Stars and Stars and Paramount are on there too because I watch Star Trek sometimes. I'm still speaking of that before we go, people. So there's 3 Star Trek series out right now. There's Discovery. Okay, people. Right out the bat, Discovery is not Star Trek. I don't give a shit what you say. It's not Star Trek. It's not even close to legitimate Star Trek.
It's good.
It's good sci-fi. I don't want to take away from it. It's well done. It's well edited. There's some decent acting, but it's not Star Trek. They have gone so stupid with it. First off, they got a mushroom drive, so the ship gets high and jumps in space. So
the magic mushroom drive.
Yeah, the magic mushroom drive, and they even call it that sometimes, the magic mushroom drive. So anyway, they've got that, And then they completely screwed the Klingon war up with the Federation. They screwed up what the Klingons looked like. They just screwed up a lot of stuff right there.
Yeah, the Klingons look way different, and then you got Spock's sister, who you haven't heard about in any other incarnation.
Anywhere. She just doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah,
and there's lots of Spock talking about his brother and other stuff, and
yeah.
But I mean, there's just you're like, okay, and who are you? And then she's so much smarter than Spock. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've just got some issues with this altogether. And then we're going to jump to the 29th century, which, by the way, we know what's in the 29th century because of Enterprise. Okay, people forgot about Enterprise. He went to the 29th century a couple of times, once when it got wiped out. And then because of Voyager, we know more about the 29th century because of the Doc's mobile emitter.
I think you guys are geeking out, man.
Yeah, I mean,
90% of people out there are like tuning away.
No, because 90% of our listeners are Star Trek fans. So,
I don't know about that.
You got that. So just if you're going to look at Discovery, people just look at it for what it is. It's good sci-fi. Don't try to put Star Trek in it because a lot of Gene Roddenberry's fans came out and said that he would have a heart attack over this. You see, because it's not Star Trek. He'd also have a heart attack that they can only produce 10 episodes a year when he was producing 25. So
25 to 30.
Yeah, 25 to 30. So, and then we've got Picard. Oh my God, Picard.
That's a good one.
I like Picard. He's old, but he's just old.
You can see the age has crept up on him.
Yeah, and I don't want to hate on him because Patrick Stewart's one of my favorite actors. I really started following him from Dune. One of my favorite scenes is when he walks out and go wildly into the desert as an ass or some shit. I love that.
Go I wildly as an ass to my work. Yeah,
to my work. Yes, and so I started following him then, and I've seen some of his Shakespearean stuff. So he's a good actor. So and I liked him in there. So he comes into Picard. The first season was. It was okay. We'll leave it at that. Okay, it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible though.
It suck. Let's just say that
it didn't suck. But then there's the use of language. Okay, you're not going to, and that's another problem with Discovery. You're not going to curse on any ship anywhere, not any Federation ship, not any Navy ship. If you use any curse word in front of your officer, you're in trouble.
It's a demotion or whatever.
Yeah, you get in big trouble for that.
To quote Spock from the movies, they have moved to more colorful metaphors.
Yes. So from Star Trek 4. So the thing about it is there's just some things in there that you just that took too much liberty with in the first one. Now here we got Picard second season, 7 of 9 shows up. Now this third season is going to be the whole original crew from
the Next Generation.
From the Next Generation.
And then most of the people from DS9 and some from Voyager will make appearances.
So it's gonna be insane. This last season though, so they're gonna go all out for it. And what they're really hoping for, I heard some people the other day hoping that 7 of 9 will get her own series. And
that would be cool.
And somebody got all mad because she was a lesbian in this series. I said, well, we know she liked guys too. She was with Chakotay.
Yeah.
And I said, nobody's mentioning what happened to Chakotay, by the way. I mean, but still, we know she was hooked up with Chakotay. So I said, she likes this girl. That's fine. Maybe she'll bring her along for the ride. The newborn queen was kind of cool. It was a different stroke for that folk. But so that's all fine. I mean, it's just what it is. People, you take it for what it is. It is Star Trek and it is Picard. And there are some legit stuff in there, so you can watch. And then there's Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, which was good. I liked it.
I like Strange New Worlds. I thought it did a lot of hard work to try to bring some of the original Star Trek back. When I mean original people back from the 60s series.
60s versions.
They did a lot of hard work to do it. Well, Glenn, they took some liberties, but you have to because it's such a difference. It's like when they made Enterprise a series and you saw that the NXS and what kind of ship it was. It looked more advanced than the Enterprise from the original series.
Same with the Strange New World ship. The bridge is completely different configuration. The phasers are different. The uniform, they're close, but you can see the similarities, but not
just a few minutes.
It just can't it is. Those bad special effects from the 60s. It would just be bad for the show.
My alien has come to.
Oh no!
It is an alien. What's that? What is that? Oh, alien! Oh, you bug-eyed gray. Well, you said you're gonna probe Michael. You're gonna probe Michael.
Run, Michael.
Wait. She said it's gonna bring backup and double probe Michael. Oh man, look at this! 2 probings at one time. Oh, okay. Y'all gotta get out of here so Daddy can sign off air. But Um, it is. We did geek out there, people. So if you are a Star Trek fan, you can go check those out. Strange New Worlds was good. I thought they did a real good job with number one. She looked just like Gene Roddenberry's wife, Majel. I thought they did a good job there. Actually,
Mhm.
Captain Pike looks a lot like the original Pike. I was a
He
little
looks a lot
surprised
like
by
the
that.
original
Yeah.
actor. Yeah, Jeffrey
And
Hunter.
so he's got some good skills going on. So keep an eye on it. It'll be out, coming back out this year. So I mean, next year sometime,
Yeah.
and we'll see how it goes. But I'm hoping we're going to have a decent series. You know, it sucks a life without Star Trek. People, I'm just saying. And it doesn't matter what generation. You could be Z Gen, or you could be the Lost generation before the X Gen. I mean, before the baby booms. All of us have watched Star Trek, except for Michael. He's not a big fan, but the rest of us are. People.
I've seen it. I like
And
Captain
and
Kirk.
if and
He boinked his way through the universe. How can you not
he says he
respect
did,
that?
man.
Yeah, he
He
did.
There's
He
pointed
wanted
his
that
way through.
green
listen,
girl
man.
too.
There's
The
little
the
half
only
humans in every
one
solar system. He's out there spreading the seed. You know what I mean?
the only other actor that made it got as much action as Kirk might have been Riker,
Yeah,
Franks.
yeah, it has to
He
be
did,
right.
yeah. It has to be Riker. I mean, don't get me wrong, Picard got a little action, but not like Riker.
And
Yeah.
Riker was too PC though, man. He wasn't as
Yeah,
intense
no,
as
he
Captain
was,
Kirk.
but and then what's his name? Cisco. He's just kind of like a one woman. You know, it took him a long time to get over his wife, so he just put
By
him
the
off to
way, the
side.
lady who played his girlfriend, Cassidy Yates, on Deep Space Nine, she plays the Doctor on Orville. If you didn't know
Yeah,
that.
no, I did realize that the other day.
Yeah.
I was watching. I said, "Hey, that is who that is," and which was cool to see. And then, but anyway, people, we got to get out of here. We're way
Well,
late.
who do
We
you
like
think is
40
going to
minutes.
go next, man? We may as well, if we're going to talk about, may as well
You
talk
mean who's
about
going to bite the big one next?
the
I'm thinking.
UPRN Deadpool.
I'm
You
thinking
got Captain
Picard
Kirk,
might
who's
be
alive
close.
still. You got Chekhov, and then you got the other
Solo,
dude
Sulu.
who's a hater.
So you got
Sulu.
three left. You got
Koenig has some pretty serious health issues right now, so he may be the next to go.
and see,
Not that I'm hopeful, but
you know what's funny about him? I actually developed a much better liking of him when he played in Babylon 5. When he played the evil guy,
yeah,
the evil
on Babylon 5.
Yeah, I loved him in that series.
I
'Cause he was
think
just an
Kirk will
evil
be the last to
bastard.
go, and it'll be Chekhov next, and then the other dude.
They probably
Kirk's
will.
ego
You're
won't let him
probably
go.
right. Kirk don't want to
Kirk just
go
went to
nowhere.
space. He just went to space, man.
Kirk wants to prove a point. I'm gonna live. He said I might live out even some of these new next generation people.
Mhm.
He might outlive Picard, man. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to say. It's
They're probably about the same age.
now
Picard.
I was listening to these people the other day. Man, it's gonna be, everybody thought when Spock went it would be this big movement. No, but when Kirk goes, there's gonna be, man, it's gonna be insane.
Mhm.
You got generation. What kills me is how many of these Z-Geners and millennials just love Kirk to death. Which
What else
tells
do they
me
have
they're
left,
starving
man?
for a manly man. Is what that tells me.
Look at that Elvis movie. Nobody went to see. You know why? Because he's not relevant. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Frank Sinatra anymore. They don't care about these people. That's our generation. Things that and
Yeah.
barely.
Well, no, some of that,
barely
but
our
some of that
generation.
music, some of that stuff, yeah, but some of that stuff's coming back in the Z-Geners. What I noticed a long time ago was it skips about every 2 generations. But so put this in perspective. If you watch clothes like bell-bottom pants when I was a kid, then they disappeared for 2 generations, but they're back again. And it's
Mhm.
just like that with everything else. It's like skips a couple of generations and it comes
It's
back
just
for a little
cyclical.
while.
Things go in
Yeah,
a
so
cycle.
But
so
not people. Not Elvis. Not things like that.
yeah, but
These
the
are
music does. But
iconic
the music
figures.
does. No, because like Sinatra, some of Sinatra's Elvis stuff is now played in some of these game shows and some of these other things as background music. It's even some of the video games have it in it. So that's where they're learning from it. Same thing we did when we used to watch the cartoons and they used to have all that 20s and 30s shit in it that none of us knew what the references were because it was like 40 years before we were born.
Well, it was all
It's
war.
the same, but I'm just it's
It
true. It
all
was all
war
war.
references.
It was too, but it's the same thing for the Z-Geners. They're growing up the same way we did. So they're seeing this stuff, and believe it or not, sometimes you do like your parents' and grandparents' music. Not all of it, but some of it. So I was
These
real
movies
lucky.
are bombing like nuclear bombs. Man.
They
make
are,
these
though,
movies.
man.
They got a female Hulk. No one's gonna see that. Nobody cares.
I think
You
that's
know?
what they're scared about Avatar. I think they're scared because it had so much hype for a decade that it's just going to go. Shh. We'll see.
They had to cancel Catwoman when they made Ghostbusters with women. Nobody went. Then they
Yeah,
said
that
you're
one sucked.
misogynistic. You're
Yeah, I bet money
misogynistic
on
if you
that
don't
one.
see those movies.
I bet
Ocean
money on that
7
one.
or whatever that
I
was
said
with
Dave
all
from
the
that
women.
one's going to flop. Well,
Yeah, of
the
course.
problem is and when something's really successful, and
Don't change it. Don't
Well,
rewrite
it's
it.
not even that. You want to have some female thing, make a new movie, make something different, make a
Right.
whole new set of female ghost hunters. Maybe some girls that were in college that got a ghost and decided to go out there, and they don't have to be the Ghostbusters. I mean, but we're not like that. It's like changing, or like so now we're gonna have a female Thor. Now I'm not so anti against female Thor because it was actually in the comics way back.
Yeah,
in
the
the
comic
day.
they did change him from Thor to Thor in the comics. They
Yeah,
changed him back.
way back,
recently.
and they changed him back. Yeah, but so it's not so much. It's just the act. Have you seen this chick? I mean, she was his girlfriend in the Thor's movie. She's just tall.
Yeah, it's
I
ridiculous.
don't care. If she's holding a hammer. Now it's just hard to be scared of her.
No
Yeah.
90-pound girl is going to take on a 300-pound muscular guy.
You
and
know,
win.
so well, if you got Thor's hammer, you might, but still. But I mean, she's got all of Thor's powers, but Thor still has all of his powers too, which is confusing.
But the people this appeal. First of all, girls don't want to see that. They're not going to go to movies see a female Thor. They want a Kardashian.
they
See the
want,
wealth and the wealth and the power
they've
and
already
all the
said
good
that
stuff. They don't
a
want
bunch
a
of
Thor.
women.
But the guys who the Ghostbuster guys, the men, the boys who go to see this stuff, they will not see it if it's women. And then they're being chastised that they're misogynistic because they don't want to see this stuff. It doesn't appeal to them.
But the companies are learning now. I think they're learning now. First, they were trying to take white.
Yeah, they're losing
superheroes
hundreds
and
of
make them
millions
black.
of bucks.
But whatchamacallit, Black Panther taught him a lesson. Just
Black
develop
Panther
it.
was a show.
Yeah, develop it right. Develop the character for what it was, and it did well. But so now they want to make Captain America black. Well, it's bombing before it even starts. Because
But the premise is
1955,
cool
they wouldn't even done
that the guy found the shield. The black dude found the shield, or it found him. They didn't make Captain America black. The shield continued.
No,
and
Captain
this guy
America
found
gave
shield.
him the shield at the end of the Infinity War.
Yeah,
so,
he gave him the
Oh,
shield.
a little
I didn't
different.
see that part.
Yeah. He gave
I don't
it
watch
to
any
him.
of that crap. I see
But the
company
shield's not where his
attractions, and I'm
powers
like,
come from. The powers come from the vaccine he was given
Yeah.
when he was a soldier in World War II. Because
Right.
I thought the power was in the shrimp.
no,
What the hell
yeah, the
happened
shrimp.
to
It might have
that?
been in the shrimp, but it might have came from the shrimp. But regardless,
What
he
about
had
that
to have a
movie,
shot.
The
He was a
Taming
little
of the
bitty
Shrimp?
runt. I mean, he was a little bitty tiny dude. He was like 5'0", 89 pounds. He was
Yeah,
4F. He couldn't even
95-pound
qualify to
weakling.
get in the military.
He
So when he
kicked
showed
Hitler's
up,
ass.
yeah, when they showed
Captain
up, they
America.
gave him this vaccine, and he became Captain America. It slowed, and then he got frozen in the ice for 50 years or something.
70 years.
Yeah, so
COVID-19 vaccine.
So trying to change him into something else is hard. It's like Iron Man. So they wanted to make his wife Iron Man. She was going to be Iron Man. Now they're talking about bringing in a whole new character because they don't think the wife's going to work as Iron Man. So now they're talking about doing a whole new character. Okay, well, yeah.
Iron vagina.
Oh, and
Here she
I haven't read about the new Doctor Who yet, but I know he's a black guy. I haven't really heard
Black
anything
Doctor
about
Who.
him. Yeah, but I don't know anything about his acting skills or anything like that.
Me either. One
Actually,
thing they did do right, though, is that there is another Ghostbusters reboot, and it's Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was directed by Ivan Reitman's son, Jason, the original director for the first two movies. It was good. If you guys haven't seen it, go see it. It was good.
Oh, the one with the kids. No, I haven't seen it yet. But
yeah, it's one with the kids. One of them is the grandkid of Egon Spengler.
I wasn't
not
crazy
giving any
about it
spoilers,
to
but
begin
you
with.
need to go see it. It was very good, and there is going to be
somebody
a
else told me it
second
was
one
pretty good,
on that
yeah.
same timeline.
The only reason why the first two movies did well is because you had Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. You had really amazing actors and players. After
And
that,
a good director
you know,
too, Ivan Reitman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a
director.
good director. You had three good people who had worked together. They had done Stripes and a
Harold
couple other ones
Ramis.
together.
Harold Ramis was a genius.
Harold Ramis wrote it.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in front of the camera, behind the camera. So
And
you don't
the
have
actor-
that talent pool anymore. You got these.
Well, the
these-
actors started
hacks.
at Saturday Night Live, right? That's where they all started out together.
Most of
And
it.
then, yeah, and then they went on from there. And then I remember when they did Stripes, that was a good step up for them.
Stripes was actually before.
Before. That's what I said. I remember when they did Stripes. That was one of the first decent sized movies they did together. And but they
You ever seen 1941 with John
Yeah.
Belushi?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I seen 1940.
I have that DVD. Man, what a funny movie that
With
is. He
John
was
Belushi.
amazing. But they said he was like drunk.
You know, though,
basically
it
through the whole
weirds me
movie.
out how Jim just stepped into John's shoes. It was almost like we didn't lose him. It was really weird. I mean, they looked a lot alike. The
Very
acting
close,
style
yeah.
was the same. It was just
I don't
strange.
compare them. I don't compare them. They're two different guys.
Well, they are two
They're-
different
Jim-
guys,
Jim
but
is
they were
good
a
in
lot
his own
alike,
right.
man.
It was like Eddie Murphy's brother, the one that just recently passed away, and he was a really funny guy, but differently funny, And Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy was cool for a minute. After that, he kind of just got annoying to me. You know, but he was
Well,
he
you
was
know
the
what?
safe
What
Hollywood
did I
black
like
guy.
Eddie
He was
in anything?
the Will
You know
Smith
what I
of
did?
the
I did
time,
like Eddie Murphy
you
in
know?
two things. I liked him in that stupid movie with that goofy white guy where he got him out of prison, and 48 Hours, I think is what it was
Yeah.
called.
48 hours. Nick Nolte.
Yeah,
48
that
Nick
was a good
Nolte,
movie.
yeah, and I liked him in that. I kind of tolerated him in the Hollywood whatever movies.
Beverly Hills Cops.
Yeah, very good cast. But I did, you know who I did like? I did like Chris Rock and what's his name, Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
They were
Rush Hour
funny.
1,
They
2,
were
and
they
3.
were they were hilarious together. Okay, anybody says they were hilarious.
That wasn't
together.
Chris Rock. That was that other dude.
No, it was
Chris Carr. Oh, I always get them confused, but
Yeah.
you're right. It wasn't Chris Rock. It was
Yeah.
what
In
the
Rush
hell was
Hour
his
is
name?
Chris Rock and Jackie Chan.
Is it Chris
I think it
Rock?
was-
I always get them confused.
No, it wasn't
Oh,
Chris Rock at all. No,
I thought it was a taller one. I don't know.
I think
Anyway.
you got it right. Carter, I think his name was.
No, it's Chris Rock. Look it up. Don't come
Well, I
at
ain't argue with you. I don't know because I
You want me
don't
to
know
prove you
well enough to
wrong,
argue
Jay?
back.
Do
front of
not
the
come
whole
against
world?
me when it comes to
The one thing you
entertainment
gotta
trivia.
learn against Joel and I is that we're right about stuff, man.
I don't.
So,
There's things that's when I know.
You're talking about the
know
Rush
something-
Hour movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rush Hour is
Rush
Chris
Hour,
Rock
yeah.
and Jackie Chan.
I'm bringing
Look
it
it
up
up on
right now. 1988. Chris Tucker. Thank you. There goes your movie.
Oh yeah,
Jay
he's right. It
is
was Chris
wrong.
Tucker. Yeah,
You're
it was.
wrong.
No.
Take that shit back to Philadelphia.
I'm nowhere near
You're wrong.
Philadelphia.
Your shrimp is very small on the show
Where'd
tonight.
you get Philadelphia from, man? Oh my God, I need some good jokes. But we gotta get out of here. We gotta go. But Jay, thanks. You gonna be with us next week? I said you seen that Jeffrey was going birthday shopping on birthday party.
Probably would've been better
He's
with Chris
got
Rock,
he's
if you
got
think
a
about it.
birthday thing with. I think I might be off next Friday, but not on I'm not on Jeff's show.
Yeah, well, I'll text you and see, and because we always love having you on with us. It's I know Jeffrey's been he was
Let's do
telling.
movie trivia next week, man. I feel lucky now.
Oh,